The following is a special presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Welcome back. We're 25 minutes to green. The theme here for the Busch Series at Chicagoland is first-time winners. Well, Kyle Busch got his first Busch win of the season last week. Last year, Casey Mears crossed the finish line a half a second ahead of Carl Edwards for his first ever Busch Series win. Let's go to Dave Burns.
And with Casey Mears right now riding around the truck, getting just finished with driver introductions. Casey, talk about your season this year, because you've been real close in the Busch Series car. Is Chicagoland, where you've won before, a chance to break through?
I hope so. I mean, the team's done a real good job with the 33rd Infantry Brigade Chevrolet, and I'm just, looking forward to seeing what we got here today. A lot of times, in practice, you don't know exactly what you have. It felt good at the end of practice, and I've had a lot of success here in the past, so hopefully we can bring it up towards the front at the end. And he's already started successfully this weekend, qualifying on the pole for the Nextel Cup race tomorrow. Now, also in both races, Kyle Busch, who was last week's Busch Series race winner. And Kyle, we were waiting for you to win. I mean, it seemed like you'd almost win here, you'd almost win there. Was it a relief for you to win at Daytona last week?
It was. It was just great to be able to finally get our victory underneath our belt there. The guys have worked so hard this year and done everything to prepare ourselves to get a win, and to finally be able to break through, that was definitely meant a lot for us. So we're here again with the Delphi Chevrolet this weekend. Going to try to make it a two-peat, so hopefully we can have a good race today.
And you also had a lot of fun this week already. You were in the Race in the Bases charity event for Victory Junction Gang Camp. Any home runs or strikeouts that you'd like to remember, either you, your brother, anybody else who was there?
No, not really. I had every up to bat, I hit the ball, and there was only one time I didn't get on base. I hit it straight to my brother, who was at shortstop, and that was always his position when he played, so he got me out at first. But I repaid him the favor when I went out to the outfield, and he hit me a ball straight to me, and I got him out there. So it was fun, though. It's for a great cause with Adam's memory and everything he's doing for the Victory Junction Gang Camp and what Kyle and Patty have come up with. So it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed every time to do it, so hopefully we can get some more drivers out there next year to support that event.
And you do remember I homered in year one, don't you?
No, I don't remember.
I did, over the fence, left field.
Why haven't you come back?
That's a very good point. We'll be discussing this, and hopefully the Race in the Bases charity will continue for a long time here in Chicagoland.
All right, that sounds good. Now, we would be remiss to be this close to Chicago and not acknowledge one of the great American companies, the Wrigley Corporation, founded here in 1891. And as you know, Wrigley is a sponsor of NASCAR. You may have seen their commercials, but you haven't seen what happened behind the scenes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Hey, Reed. Not cool, guys.
Watch Team Wrigley and all the NASCAR coverage on ESPN.
Casey, I'm going to throw some really fast, hard-hitting questions at you. Just answer them as fast as you can. Hide and seek or freeze tag?
Hide and seek.
Your favorite color is?
Blue.
The Daytona 500 is in?
Daytona.
Who would be a better wingman? Casey Kane, Juan Pablo Montoya?
Casey Kane.
Who would be a better date? Reed Sorensen or David Stremme?
I would be.
True or false, I like cheese?
Definitely.
Boxers or briefs?
Boxers. None. Depends.
You wear depends.
That whole group, Sorensen, Stremme, Juan Pablo Montoya, Casey Kane, they're all getting ready to go in Busch Series racing today. You're watching ESPN on ABC. NASCAR Countdown coming right back. They're getting ready for Busch Series racing at Chicagoland. 300 miles comes your way in under 20 minutes. Now, fuel strategy is something you're going to hear a whole lot about today in today's race. It's something that we can all relate to, that sinking feeling when you're just about to run out of gas. So how do teams get the most in and the most out? For that, we head down to Tim Brewer at the Chevy Cutaway car.
Thanks, Susie. You got a 22-gallon fuel cell in these Busch cars. That's the maximum capacity. The secret to the fuel mileage deal is this little thing here. It's called the fuel pickup. We've got it over in the corner of the fuel cell. We're picking up front, side, and rear. We've got these trap doors containing the fuel in this area. The sin is getting 21.5 gallons out of the fuel cell. If we put 22 gallons in here, we want to suck this thing bone dry, and what we'll do during practice is move this pickup around to where we pick every ounce of fuel up in here to enable yourself to take advantage if an opportunity presents itself. Back up to you, Susie.
Now, Tim, you're a champion crew chief. You got lots of wins at Daytona. What was the secret?
Well, it just depends on where you're at, Susie, but I ran the same fuel cell in my car every week. Everybody wanted to have a fuel cell in every car. I run the same one every week in every event, and the guy that usually had the biggest fuel cell, he could go the furthest, and 9 times out of 10, that was yours truly.
Well, he had that 50-gallon fuel cell he running that car. But, Tim, you see guys a lot of times weaving back and forth, and, they'll cut the switches off and on, and sometimes guys won't even fire their car up under the gentleman start your engines to save a little bit of fuel. Does that all really work?
Oh, yeah. Anything you can do to pick the fuel mileage up is great. It's one of those deals at Daytona, 125 milers. I never let the guy crank the car up until the guy in front of him drove off. Saved me about 3 minutes with the engine running.
Good deal.
Well, fuel strategy, just one of the many storylines we'll be following today. And we also want to acknowledge the losses the NASCAR family has suffered in such a short period of time. Dr. Bruce Kennedy in a tragic plane crash this week. Bill France Jr. The sport owes them so much. Now, let's go trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the United States Marine Corps Honor Guard present our nation's colors. And now will you please pause for a moment of silence as we remember Bill France Jr. As you know, Mr. France was instrumental in making NASCAR the greatest sport that it is today. In addition, please pause for remembrance of Dr. Bruce Kennedy, Mike Clem, and all the Sanford, Florida families affected by this week's tragedies. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our friend Jim Evans of Windy City Ministries as he offers today's invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this beautiful day that you have given us to go racing here at Chicagoland Speedway. We pray for the safety of all the military men and women who so faithfully serve this country here and abroad. We ask your blessing today on all these drivers, crew members, track staff, volunteers, and especially these great Chicagoland NASCAR fans. And we especially ask for your comforting hand on the France and Kennedy families in this time of need and all those individuals involved in the events in Florida this week. And we ask this all in your name, and everyone agreed with this prayer and said, amen.
And now to sing our national anthem, we are pleased to welcome Danielle Williamson from Chicago's company of the Broadway blockbuster Wicked.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
Race fans, let's hear it for Danielle.
Perfect day for racing. Lots of storylines to follow. 300 miles on the way. Dr. Jerry Punch, Rusty Wallace, Andy Petrie standing by. We're here at Chicagoland Speedway. NASCAR Busch Series ready to rock from the Windy City.
The NASCAR Busch Series at Chicago, presented by the Old Spice Collectors Series. Castrol GTX High Mileage, superior oil burn-off protection for cars over 75,000 miles. Aaron's, proud sponsor of the Aaron's Lucky Fan. Everyone's a lucky dog at Aaron's. And Farmers Insurance. To find an agent near you, call 1-800-FARMERS.
And we
welcome you back to Chicagoland Speedway, just south of the Windy City here in Joliet, Illinois. Now it is time to get cranked up. Let's go trackside for the command.
Race fans, let's get ready to get her done. Welcome your Grand Marshal, Bill Foote, as he delivers the most famous words in motorsports. Gentlemen, start your engines!
Fire them up, gang. Crank them up.
You ready to rock?
Hey, we're gonna go rocking and rolling today.
Well, the engines are fired, and as the cars get ready to roll off, we'll give you a little history lesson about Chicagoland Speedway in the NASCAR Busch Series. Now, dating back to 2001, there have been 6 races and 6 different drivers go to victory lane. There's never been a repeat winner. And take a look on the right side of your screen. Never has a driver from the pole or even the front row won this race at Chicagoland Speedway. Glad to have you with us along with Rusty Wallace and Andy Petrie. I'm Jerry Punch here at Chicagoland Speedway. And you just saw a moment ago, Rusty, that this race has never been won from the front row. Why does starting up front not help you out so much here?
Jerry, qualifying here is so much different than any other racetrack. You got to run the corners so hard, especially in turn 1 and 2. And it seems like those drivers that are real nervy and get real up in the wheel, so to call it, can get that done. Now, once a race starts, it turns into a racer's racetrack. This track's going to get real wide. Things are going to change. The setup's going to change. And that's the reason it's so much different here.
You know, 4 of the 6 races here have been won on fuel mileage strategy. Andy, why?
Well, just like Rusty said, it's a big, wide racetrack, and there's a lot of room to race, and it makes for a lot of green flag racing. And when you have green flag racing, it makes that fuel mileage just a premium, so you can go as far as you can on that fuel tank.
If you got the guts to gamble on gas, you just might get it done here. This is the kind of racetrack that gambling may just pay off. Well, when we return, we'll visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of that car right there, the Holiday Inn Chevrolet, Jeff Burton, who starts back in 14th place today. You're watching ESPN on ABC. And we welcome you back to Chicagoland Speedway as we are set to get underway, or we were set to get underway until we had a momentary delay here. They had the jet dryers on the racetrack sort of blowing the track off. And a moment ago, some fuel or something out of the back of that one jet dryer, and he tries to get it over to one of the fire trucks and get it pulled off the racetrack. It was just a momentary delay. You see some fuel inside there burning, and they have gotten that extinguished now. As the cars begin to roll off, we'll take a look at our grid as the ticker goes across and show you that 26-year-old Denny Hamlin has picked up his 4th pole of the year and will lead this field of 43 cars down. And by the way, there are 25 drivers in this NASCAR Busch Series race today who will also do double duty in tomorrow's NASCAR Nextel Cup Series event. Included in those is our in-race reporter, who we're going to visit with now, Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, ABC. You got us?
Buddy, I got it.
Jeff's been about 5 races since you've been in this car, and you know, I know you're really excited about getting Richard Childress his first, or not first, but really a car owner championship. Everybody's talking about Carl Edwards, but hey man, you're talking about bringing home that car owner championship. Tell us about it.
Scott Wimmer's been doing a great job, and you know, this Holiday Inn Chevrolet's got a couple wins this year. We're right in the thick of it. We feel like we got a shot at it. We got to get going though. The 60 cars are really fast, but you know, I think this team is really strong, and we got a shot at it. So you know, now's the time to start getting it done.
Jeff, the track was pretty cool this morning during qualifying, but now it's heating up a lot. You got enough adjustability in that car?
So, Rusty, as you know, having these cars good for the whole race is what it's all about. And we've set up thinking we're going to be a little too loose to start here, but we hope that'll play off for us later.
All right, Jeff, thanks for talking to us.
Good day.
All right, let's visit now with his crew chief, Pat Smith, on top of the pit box on pit road.
Hey, Pat Smith, it's Andy Petrie up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Andy.
Hey, Pat, this race is won on fuel mileage more times than not. What can you do as a crew chief to maximize that strategy?
Well, we got to see how it plays out first. Track position is going to be key here. Hopefully we'll get some of that at the beginning here and get a couple spots in the pits. But we just have to see how it plays out. We know who we're racing here, so we'll probably play their game.
Yeah, Pat, that kind of leads into my second question. How about the tires? Is it going to be a 4-tire deal all day, or are we going to see some 2-tire stops on pit road?
tires, not unless we get in trouble and really need the track position, but I think you're better off with 4 here.
10-4, Pat. We appreciate it, and have a good race.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, Jeff Burton and Pat Smith both have won together 2 times this year. You know, now it's time for one of my favorite parts of the pre-race coverage when we get to hear from 4 of the best pit reporters in the business, starting with Jamie Little.
From the best play-by-play in the business. Thanks, Doc. You know, what a year it's been for Denny Hamlin, and what a difference since this race 1 year ago. He finished 14th here at Chicagoland last year, and Dave Rogers, his crew chief, said the car was so bad, so far from the setup they wanted, he didn't even bring those notes to this track. It's a totally different setup, but the car he's driving is a different story. He drove that car to victory at Darlington earlier this season from the pole. Now he starts on the pole here today, but this race has never been won from that position. Mike Massaro?
You know, Jamie, when it comes to picking favorites in these races, there's no better source than the drivers themselves. So when after final practice concluded yesterday afternoon and Carl Edwards came over to me and whispered in my ear and pointed to the 21 car of Kevin Harvick saying, that car is fast, I concluded he may be the car to beat this afternoon, and there's statistics to prove that as well. He won there in a Busch car in 2005 and has 2 wins here in an Nextel Cup car. This may be the second city, but for Kevin Harvick, it may be very difficult for him to settle for anything less than first. Dave?
Mike, Matt Kenseth may have something to say about that before the day is over. He's been very, very good at mile-and-a-half racetracks, but wins have eluded him here at the Chicagoland Speedway. The team did him a favor. They brought his favorite car, the car that he's won twice in this year, the only wins he's had in the NASCAR Busch Series, and they hope that that car can take Matt Kenseth to victory lane in the 17. He starts 10th today. Alan?
But Dave, Carl Edwards has been a headline maker throughout the NASCAR Busch Series season so far. He will likely be a headline maker again in today's race. Carl has never finished outside the top 5 in his 2 previous Busch Series events here. He's qualified on the front row for this race, and he's looking for win number 5 on the season today. Just before crawling into his car a few moments ago, Carl told me they have a very good car. He doesn't think it'll be exactly right in the opening run of the race, but he said, we'll get it there, and we'll be around at the finish. Doc?
All right, thank you very much, Alan. Carl Edwards finished 2nd here a year ago and came very close to getting that first win at Chicagoland. Andy, what should we watch for today?
Well, we've been talking about fuel mileage, so we're going to be watching who can stretch that fuel tank and make the most out of their fuel and fuel mileage. And then the high groove. We're going to see this racetrack really get big. What they call getting big is moving that groove all the way up next to the wall in 3 and 4, and actually 1 and 2 starting to move up in practice, and then gambling with that strategy. Who's going to gamble, and how's it going to pay off for these guys at the end of the race for that ultimate track position at the end?
All right, thank you very much. We will be riding along with 8 high-definition onboard cameras. Mike Wallace starts 39th in the Geico Chevrolet. Eric Almirola starts 3rd, the Z-Line Design Chevy. Kevin Harvick 8th in the AutoZone Chevrolet. You've already heard from Jeff Burton, starts back in 14th. Reed Sorensen 32nd in the Wrigley's Juicy Fruit Dodge. Stephen Wallace 36th, the Rapid Industrial Cleaning Dodge. 15th starting spot for Stephen Light, the City Financial Ford, and 23rd for David Rudeman in the XM Radio Toyota. Take a look at our race analysis. It is a 200-lap, 300-mile event here on a 1.5-mile oval. And the pit window, that could be very interesting in terms of fuel mileage here. Being able to go that far on fuel. Pit road speed is at 45 miles an hour. And the banking there, very different. 3 different degrees of banking, 18 degrees in the turns. Well, from a city where the Bears rule the gridiron in the wintertime and the favorite boys of summer are named the Cubbies and the White Sox, we invite you now to sit back and enjoy 43 of the world's best stock car drivers as they head to the green flag here on the high banks at Chicagoland Speedway. Denny Hamlin quick to scurry to the top of the racetrack, guys, and hug that middle groove entering turns 1 and 2.
Black flag's coming out for the 30 car for passing before the start-finish line. These guys have to stay in line before they get there, and then they can start passing, but they can't pass till they get to the start-finish line, so he's got a pass-through penalty coming up.
You know, Stan Barrett realized he's starting to back pretty far, Andy. He realized he's got to get that thing to the front. He just jumped him too much. Got on the outside. NASCAR said, hey, man, no way. Pass-through penalty, just like you said. Now, that's really going to hurt him.
Lap 1 of 200, riding along with Kevin Harvick, the 2005 winner, trying to move to the outside of Dave Blaney's Toyota and couldn't get it done.
Looked like Kevin's car is a little bit loose off turn 2. We saw the camera wiggle back and forth. I think that was the car.
I think that's what you really want, Andy. If you get the car a little loose, it's really going to turn. As the fuel burns off, the front end's going to stick better. The car's going to get going on. We talked to Carl Edwards yesterday. The guy he was worried about was Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, but you got to be able to hang on to the car. If it's loose, you got to hang on to it till it starts tightening up.
Mike Massaro.
Guys, it's really interesting to note that it's loose right now because they fought the opposite condition during practice yesterday. So much, in fact, was it tight that Shane Wilson had a meeting with Kevin Harvick's crew chief on the Nextel Cup side this morning, Todd Barrier, to kind of go over some notes and get some ideas what to do with the car. But they were real tight during practice.
Well, sometimes, Mike, when we see the back end of the car jump out, it could be because the car's too tight, and he's actually aggravating the car trying to get it to turn, and it makes the back end jump out. So it just looks loose to us, but it may not be that way to the driver.
And one thing you got to remember, too, they got low air pressures. Once these air pressures come up, the car will stabilize and start driving better. But those low air pressures, that baby gets sideways sometimes.
Yeah, we see some give and take off the corner here.
Whoa, trouble. Ryan Newman's Kodak Dodge has had a hard impact into the concrete wall, and the back of the car pushed in. Ryan was one of the early favorites here, having been a 2-time pole sitter, but pretty hard contact here on the early laps, lap number 3.
You see that damage on the left side is probably because he spun the car and got into the wall. I tell you, these cars are so loose to start with. These guys just have a really hard time hanging on to them.
That's real surprising, too, because Newman, he's a really good driver. He understands how these loose cars react at the start of the race. He's usually ready for that, so we'll just have to see what happened here.
Yeah, he is a former Nextel Cup winner here. He's also led the most laps twice in the race here, and there we are in progress. The car's already backwards, and it goes right up across, so just like you said, Rusty, right across into the wall and just nudges that left rear quarter panel.
Yeah, Jerry, I'm not for sure that might have started a little bit earlier in what we just showed you this, and we'll go back and try to find some more, but no, that was a hard impact right up in the safe barrier, and thank gosh for the safe barrier. He hit left rear instead of driver's side, so that's much better.
Yeah, that's still a hard lick, though, and even if you hit a softball, it's still a hard lick.
Watching from Stephen Light's onboard camera, you see the car just snap around on Ryan Newman, and we are under yellow for the first time here this afternoon. Back at Chicagoland Speedway, action early on here. Lap number 3, turns 1 and 2, the 12 car of Ryan Newman. Take a look.
You see Ryan Newman get down in the corner real hard, and this is a classic example of air loose. We see the 29 car Jeff Burton just get right close to him and take the air off his rear spoiler, and he was already pretty loose to start with. You see what happened right here. This air loose is a situation where these cars get so close together and they affect each other by the way the air comes across the cars. And we see this, our ESPN, the red car here, the lead car, everything's fine until he gets the car right up on his rear bumper and steals some of that air off the rear spoiler. And what happens is you just lose grip, chase the car up, and if you're lucky, you'll catch it. You won't get in the wall like Ryan Newman did, but it really does make the car very unstable.
I'll tell you what, when you're driving that car and a car gets behind you like that, Andy, it feels like the back of your car lifts up. It really does.
All right, getting set to resume green flag racing. Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, and Kyle Busch, the top 3. Casey Kane, the top Dodge, back in 4th position. And look at Casey Mears just come to the high side and go sailing by Casey Kane. Now he looks to the inside of Kyle Busch.
Jerry, I think when the racetrack starts widening out as the day goes on, you're going to see a lot of this on these restarts. These guys are really on it. They're taking advantage of these fresh tires and that outside groove and just going for it.
And the race is on for the lead.
Carl Edwards goes to the inside and just sails right by the 20 car of Denny Hamlin, and he's going to drag Kyle Busch with him for 2nd spot.
We already see the 20 car working the high side of the racetrack, and it may not be by choice this early in the race. He may just be having to chase his car up there because it's not handling right here early in the race.
As you watch this battle here developing for 2nd and 3rd, we'll check into the garage area where Allen is caught up with Ryan Newman.
Yeah, the interview no driver wants to do so early in the race. What happened, Ryan?
I just lost it, man. The Kodak Dodge was a little bit loose, and it just flat came around on me. There was no saving it. It's like it just went, and unfortunate. Feel bad for all the guys at the shop. Been working so hard. This is a brand new race car, and I got nothing to prove for it.
Glad you're okay. Good luck tomorrow.
All right, let's show you a tough break for Ryan Newman. Is awfully good at this racetrack over the years, and it didn't happen. Now watch the 24 car here on the restart.
Oh, let's take a look at that. Good restart. The flag drops. He knows it. He goes it outside. And Andy, this is free stuff right here. Man, if you can get him on the restart, go for it, because it's much harder to get that done later in the race.
And it looks like he stole that out of Juan Pablo Montoya's playbook.
It looks that way.
That was a great restart.
And here his teammate now, last week's winner, Kyle Busch in the 5 car. Battling up there, the 20 car of Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter for second position. A pair of Chevys, and Hamlin will pull him by a couple of car lengths off the corner.
Now, see, that's one thing I like about this track already. The second groove's coming in. These guys are taking advantage of it. They're not single file on the bottom of the track. They're already working that top side.
And as the tires wear and we get more rubber on the track, you'll see more and more. But I see a few cars already working the top, and I just love it when they do that. The track gets real big, and there's racing all over the racetrack.
You know, Casey Kane, I was looking back at Casey a little while ago. He already started working the real high side of the racetrack, and if you remember him, he won Charlotte. He's qualified good here, and he's already got that top lane coming in. And you know, some drivers, guys, are just better than others at immediately going to the top, and Casey Kane is definitely one of them.
Oh, here we got some great racing with David Rudem and Juan Pablo Montoya. Robbie Gordon working the top side.
Yeah, you see the 15 car of Paul Menard back. These guys got to be nuts. I'm going to back out of this here. There's Montoya, the 42, the 99. Here's Bobby Labonte, the former series champion, trying to hug the bottom side.
Well, this is one of the racetracks that you can take the left side tires and go below the white line into tri-oval and make some passes right there. A little controversial. And when you come off the apron back on the track, it really upsets the cars. But, hey, these guys don't care. They're going for it.
These guys are running inches apart at 190 miles an hour. This is great racing.
Now, this is 16th through 25th here. These cars all clustered together, and now Menard will slide in front of the 77 car. That's for 19th position.
Now, I tell you what, the guy sitting in a real volatile position is Paul Menard in the 15. You saw Bobby Labonte in the 77 a little while ago. He was just about to experience that aero loose like Ryan Newman did.
All right, back up front, Carl Edwards still leading the way, but a couple of cars really starting to show some muscles. You see Edwards flash by, then Hamlin, then Kyle Busch, but there comes the 17 car. The 17 car of Matt Kenseth. This is the car that he's won both his events this year at California and Texas, and it's awfully good early on here. Mike?
Right, Doc, it's a winning car, and, you know, that puts a little bit of pressure on Matt Kenseth to put that thing up front today, but he still has a handful. He's saying it's awfully tight. It's awfully tough to turn this car in the corners. And here at Chicago, one thing you need for success is to be able to rotate through these turns, guys.
All right. Kenseth obviously rotating pretty well early on, and right behind him is the 10 car of Dave Blaney.
Well, Blaney, he proved that he's fast. You know, he qualified great. He's got that Toyota power, and every time he gets in this 10 car, it's always a good finish, Jared. It really is.
Sitting there running in the top 5, running 5th.
Blaney coming off a third-place finish at Daytona last week, moved from 6th to 4th in the NASCAR Busch Series points. He's running basically the full schedule in both Busch and Cup. And here's the 41 car. Talk about great finishes last week. Reed Sorensen driving for Chip Ganassi in the 41. Finished 7th at Daytona. He's got a pretty good battle going there with the 1 of J.J. Yale.
Well, he really does. Reed Sorensen is really good at Ganassi's Busch cars. He really gets the job done. Now, take a look at the 1 car of J.J. Yale, and he's got a different engine in that car, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got one of Joe Gibbs Racing engines in there for the first time this year, and these guys are trying to evaluate their motor programs. Looks like J.J.'s going the right direction anyways, going forward.
And here's Leffler, the 38 car, trying to make a move by.
Now, did you just see that? The 38 of Jason Leffler got behind the 41 of Reed Sorensen, got him loose. You saw the tail end moved around a little bit. That's another classic case of aero loose. But this time, he held on to it, and that's generally the way it looks.
Do you use that as a strategy as a driver? If you're trying to work your way by a guy and you're battling, do you try to say, okay, if I can get right up next to him, I'll get him loose and I can get by him? Do you do that?
I definitely do that, you know.
All right, seems to be a problem that's happening all over this racetrack. Just a moment ago, it happened to Jeff Burton. Watch here.
Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Greg Biffle gets right on his tail, makes him kick the rear end out, and that's what it's all about. Well, you know, that was pretty early in this race so far, about 18 laps into it. I wouldn't doubt that the pressures are still coming up just a little bit. But, you know, these guys have got to have these cars pretty free. That means the rear end kicking out a little bit in order to be good halfway through the run.
Well, Jeff Burton's marching
pretty
to the front.
good figuring this part out.
All right, battle for 6th place. Didn't take very long for the 29 car to go by Casey Mears. And Jeff Burton takes 6 spot away. Let's check in with Dave, who with the view from the 16 car. What are you hearing, Dave?
Yeah, Jeff Burton was right in front of Greg Biffle when Jeff had that little almost wreck there. Biffle said, that's pretty loose, huh? And his spotter agreed with him. Yeah, pretty loose. Greg's car right now, he's suddenly going backwards. He had been going forward in a car that they struggled with yesterday, found the handle on, and during his qualifying laps agreed that they had found the secret to it, but now he's losing positions. We'll go check and update.
Looking over at the 16 car from Kevin Harvick as these two battle for 10th position. And Kevin Harvick does take the spot away. As we are in the early laps here at Chicagoland Speedway. Just 20 of 200 laps are in the books. It is stop number 20 of 35 on the $50 million NASCAR Busch Series Tour. And the guy who's the points leader and the winningest driver this year with 4 victories, Carl Edwards, is our leader. Back in just a moment.
NASCAR Busch Series racing at Chicagoland all about. Inches apart at 190 miles an hour, getting loose, a little bit slick. The 2 leaders so far, 2 dominant forces in NASCAR, Denny Hamlin, Carl Edwards, and Brad Daugherty. What's been the moment so far that's kind of stood out for you here?
Well, this is what I thought would happen. We're having a nice long green flag run. We've had 1 caution early, but the caution was precipitated because of the car getting loose, not necessarily someone getting into one another. So this is what we thought would happen. This is where the fuel strategy will come into play later on. We heard our Andy Petrie talking about long green lap runs. Well, we're getting into one right now.
And throughout the day, we were talking about changing conditions. It was very cloudy early on, especially during qualifying. Pretty clear and warm and sunny right now.
Well, and as it gets warmer, the racetrack gets a little greasier, and we also have some loose race cars as we started this thing. But as the track gets a little slicker, it's going to be even that much more difficult to adjust to the racetrack.
Yeah, Carl Edwards, it's the 15th race. Edwards has led this season, truly a dominant force. Let's get up to speed, beginning with Alan Best.
And Susie, the biggest problem that Carl Edwards has had in this race so far are hot dog wrappers. Twice in this race, a piece of trash has flown out of the grandstand and across the grill opening on that 60 car. The temperature was up to 250 degrees until a minute ago when he ran up behind a lap car, and the loss in pressure on the front end blew that piece of debris off the car. So far, so good for Carl Edwards, except for the hot dog wrappers, Jamie.
And Denny Hamlin behind Carl Edwards, your pole sitter for the 4th time this season. Coming into the race, he was concerned about the racetrack, that it was going to warm up so much the car would be very loose. But the track has only warmed up about 10 degrees. Denny Hamlin hasn't been outside the top 3 so far. Mike?
Matt Kenseth is driving the car. He went to victory lane in California and Texas. Right now, though, struggling a little bit. Radioed in recently saying it's awfully difficult to get this thing to turn. Still, he's at 3rd position and running fairly strong. The guy behind him has just slipped from 2nd to 4th in the last lap. That's Kyle Busch, and the reason may be some motor problems. He radioed in recently saying it feels funny and it may be losing some power. Jamie?
And behind him is Dave Blaney. He started 5th and he remains in the 5th spot, not saying a whole lot on his radio. Happy with his car, still looking to bring Toyota its first victory, maybe here at Chicago. Right behind him, Jeff Burton. Now he's having different issues. He told the team, he's actually ahead of him now, told the team he's having issues with turning. You saw him almost get in that little incident with Greg Biffle. He avoided it. He has a loose condition and a tight condition in the middle off. Alan?
Well, the big mover in the early part of the race has been Clint Boyer in that 2 car. He took the green flag back in the 18th spot. You see he's moved up to the number 7 position now. Boyer says his car is doing just fine, and he also noticed from in the cockpit that outside line is really moving on the restarts. Mike?
Kevin Harvick started off the race really loose, but he had another problem as well. He was bottoming out. He radioed in recently saying, quote, as soon as I can stop banging on the ground, I'll be able to drive it. Guys?
All right, guys. guys back up front. Great stories and great updates. Here goes Denny Hamlin sailing to the high side, right back by Carl Edwards.
And this track's already starting to loosen up a little bit. Denny's definitely went to the top. And look at all this momentum, guys. Once he gets to the top of the track, it's a bigger track. And with these little Busch Grand National engines, if you can run hard off the corner, it makes you feel like you got more momentum and more horsepower.
And what I see right there, Carl Edwards has run the bottom of the racetrack almost every lap from the start. And he hadn't been able to see these guys where they're running on the top side. Now that he sees Denny Hamlin working the top side of the racetrack, I saw him run that last corner through there to see how his car would handle up there.
Okay, my question is the 17 car behind these two now that's coming in a hurry. There's the 17 at Kansas. We heard the report a moment ago that his car early on would not turn. Obviously, this track's got to be coming toward him now.
Yeah, these guys are just using two completely different grooves. We see Denny Hamlin working that top side, using the momentum. These other guys working the bottom of the racetrack where their cars are working the best. And it looks like the 17 car's handling great. I don't know why he didn't think it was handling good.
Well, guys, generally when you go in a corner, and if your car's pushing the front end, you can't run the top side, because if you go to the top side of the track, you don't have any cushion whether the thing takes off on you. You might get up and hit the wall. So you got to hook it around the bottom so the car hooks good down the bottom. That's what a tight car looks like.
Yeah, we heard about Carl Edwards and getting all these hot dog wrappers on his grill and getting hot. I'd like to go down to our Tim Brewer and let him kind of explain what we're talking about there.
Here you go, Andy. You got the hot dog wrappers, you got all kind of paper, and it's affixed to the grill right here. Anytime you got 190-mile-an-hour air pressure, it's pushing it down on the grill. What he did, when he pulled that nose up under the front of the car, no downforce right here. The paper simply fell off. You got the fan running to the engine. You simply switch it off. Does the same thing. Relieves all the trash on the nose of the car. Back to you, Andy.
Yeah, Tim, I saw him do that. He got right up behind one of the lap cars and did that, and I couldn't quite figure it. And we see more trash on the grill of the 60. It's just like a magnet for that trash. But I saw Carl Edwards get right up behind a lap car, and I didn't know what he was doing, and that's what he was doing, trying to get that off of there.
Yeah, there's the trash on the front grill of the 60 car. For more information on overheating, log on to ESPN.com, search word know-how. And by the way, those are hot dog wrappers that were with hot dogs that were consumed by our own Tim Brewer. Tim.
Hey, we're going to find out how good those guys are watching ESPN and ABC on TV, because if they see this, they see how to get it off, just going to enable them to help themselves out there on a racetrack.
Tell you what, if you can get up behind the car as close as you can, like Tim was saying, you know, there's no air touching the front of the car there. That thing will simply fall off. So, you know, I've done that in my life, all my racing career, and you know what? It seems like it works every single time.
How close do you have to be?
Well, sometimes you got to get up and hit them, Jerry. You got to bump them and scrape it off.
I saw you do that a bunch. Is that why you did that?
Oh, yeah, man.
Hey, how about a car that has come from the back of the pack, 22nd starting spot to 33. That's the Old Spice Chevy of two-time Nextel Cup champion Tony Stewart, and he is now being shown in the 9th position. And he is it's the same race car he had at Las Vegas that he ran so well in, like he is today.
And this track is so similar to Las Vegas that anybody that had a good run or a good car at Las Vegas could expect to run really well here. We see him going around the 66 car, Stephen Wallace. You see this track is really rough. It's got a lot of bumps and what I call character in the racetrack, where these guys have to really work on their setup, and it's not just a real smooth surface where they can just maximize all the downforce. They have to work on the shocks and springs and make that car really handle.
While we are in Joliet, Illinois, the site of a NASCAR Chicagoland Speedway, and historically there have been some pretty good races over the years from Joliet, Illinois, headed up towards Chicago.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
You're watching ESPN on ABC. Back at Chicagoland Speedway, great action up toward the front as the 17 car pulling right down to the inside using the bottom line, as Andy talked about a moment ago. That's Kenseth, the 17, and the 20 is Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, these guys have been going at it right here. They've been trying to fight for this lead, and it's just great racing with these two grooves working so well. Nobody really able to get an advantage.
Tell you what, there's absolutely two distinctive lines out there. It's either dead on the bottom or dead on the top. You don't see many people run around the center of the racetrack, that's for sure.
Now they got all this lap traffic to deal with. They're going to have to change their line a little bit. And even if they, like we see Denny Hamlin had to move on the low side of these lap cars, now he's back up to the top. And we see the 17 car still, we're just working right on the bottom.
Well, as the pit stops are looming about 10 laps from now, a lot of communication starting to go back and forth between the crews and the drivers. Right, Mike?
That's right, Doc. And earlier this year, crew chief for Matt Kenseth, Drew Blickensderfer, described his driver as a perfectionist. And we can really begin to understand why from this radio transmission where he talked about how he's good on practically every part of the racetrack except for turn 1.
So windy, Drew's making it hard, but it's really, really loose into 1 is my biggest problem. Center next to Drew are pretty good, a little bit free, but it's plenty manageable. I just can't get into 1 for nothing. I'm just losing so much time there, no matter what I try.
Coming into this race, Drew Blickensderfer said there's a little bit of pressure on this team to deliver, not only because this race car's been to victory lane twice, but he feels like they had 6 opportunities this year to get to victory lane, and they left 4 of those opportunities on the table. Guys?
Yeah, he may not be good getting into turn 1, but he's real strong off turn 2. We see him right there. He get a good run on the 20 car off turn 2. And there's a lot of bumps down there in 1 and 2 that they have to deal with, and that might be giving Matt Kenseth a little trouble.
Well, he's hooking up right on the bottom of the track. He doesn't even attempt to go to the top side going into turn 1. He just feels like he's more secure. And it's another thing. If you go in, you get too loose. But I'll tell you what, he's looking pretty good right now in front of Denny Hamlin. That car's coming around pretty good for him.
And Hamlin pulled right up on the back of the 17 car. And let's take a look at the hood here, buffeting a little bit on these cars.
And there's a lot of air coming off these. Wow, look at that hood buffeting on the 17 car, Matt Kenseth. You see that Arby's just jumping up and down. That's you run 190 miles an hour, and this air coming off these cars, it's really hard to brace those hoods up enough to take care of that. It's really hard to do that.
Well, they're going to move around a little bit, depending on the thickness of the material underneath the hood, and guys have different outlooks on that. Some of them try to get them real lightweight, but take a look at Clint Boyer underneath Dave Blaney right here. Boyer yesterday really liked his car. Blaney back to the outside of this thing. 2 grooves again, guys.
Yeah, these guys racing for 7th spot. We got that 2 car working the bottom pretty well, getting in the corner good, and you see him going over those bumps, and his car handles pretty good over those bumps.
And you talk about the coil bind setup stuff, Andy. This guy's got it figured out. Richard Childress's guys, every single week, they are the best at that.
All right, Clint Boyer coming all the way from 18th spot to find himself in the top 10, currently 7th overall. Back in just a moment.
Sports heroes, famous landmarks, memorable moments, culture, history. The Second City has it all. About 50 minutes to the southwest. We've also got NASCAR. The Chicagoland Speedway is still in its infancy when you put it up against legendary landmarks and sports teams. Hey, the Chicago Rush in the conference championships today.
Oh, awesome.
What's the big Chicago team that stands out for you?
Have no clue. Don't even want to talk about it. Chicagoland Speedway, that's all I know.
A Chicago bias from Brett. Well, here at Chicagoland, Busch Series Racing.
We look like we're running that. We're getting ready to come up on pit stops here pretty close. And, we talked about this earlier in the race. Long green lap runs. You heard our Andy Petrie talking about that. So coming in for these pit stops, it's going to be crucial that these guys don't make any mistakes. You come in, you get 4 tires, a load of fuel, and you get off clean and try to advance your position. You don't want to lose any positions in this pit stop because you may have more long green lap runs.
Lap 56 of 200, and Matt Kenseth in the lead. Let's go back to Doc.
All right, thank you very much, Susie and Brad. And these cars starting to move up across the racetrack.
Yeah, you see some of these guys just working the very, very top side of the racetrack, and some of them are just, like, look at Kevin Harvick. We saw him in just a little bit in that shot, how high he was.
And they get up on the top side of that track, they get a lot of grip, they get a lot of momentum. And why are they doing it? Because they can do it, and they're going to go for it. They would like to run on the bottom if it was quicker, but the top's quicker right now. Crew guys are giving them their times, letting them know.
All right, just a few laps away from scheduled green flag pit stops. Ward Burton has already been on and off pit road. A couple others getting ready to come on. We check in with Dave.
One of the early pitters will be Jamie McMurray. He said, my car's decent in turns 3 and 4, but it will not turn in turns 1 and 2. Going to make a track bar and air pressure adjustment for last week's Nextel Cup winner at Daytona.
And here come some other cars down pit road as you see the 17 of Kenseth flash by. Expecting the leaders on the pit road momentarily. Bobby Labonte comes in as we head down to Mike.
And Bobby Labonte hitting his marks. They're planning to take 4 tires in fuel. You can see they're making a chassis adjustment as well on the right side of the car. Looks like about 2 rounds. Pretty big change there for a 4-tire change for Bobby Labonte. Seems like it's getting a little bit hot too. You can see some steam coming up out of the overflow as well. Dave.
Casey Kane started 4th, but he faded back to position 10. They will make a wrench going in the back window for a wedge adjustment. The front end needs to be better, he said. The car will not turn in the corners. on pit road. Mike.
And Kyle Busch heading down pit road. A while ago, he radioed in that he may have some motor problems. He did radio in recently, however, saying that he feels like everything is okay. May have been a false alarm. It's a planned 4-tire change in fuel for Kyle Busch.
And guys, as you watch the 5-car just a moment ago, Denny Hamlin missed pit road. He was trying to get on the pit road and couldn't get there. Now he has to come back around and comes back down. Here's what happened a moment ago. Now watch the 5-car. He will make a left-hand turn on the pit road. There's a commitment cone there. Hamlin couldn't get slowed down. He almost stopped, and other cars go by, and he has to take one more lap to come around to get on the pit road.
That's going to cost him some valuable track position right there, because he's going to have to slow way down. This next lap is going to take him a good while to get around. So after they make this round of pit stops, we'll find him back there trying to fight back up to the front.
Well, he'll be farther back, but once they cycle out, it shouldn't go a lap down. It should be okay. Jamie?
Denny Hamlin found his way down pit road that time, guys. He was definitely not planning on that. He said the car is tight all the way through. He needs a significant change. They're going to do a half round of wedge and make an air pressure adjustment. Denny Hamlin been solid all day. He's now out and away, but guys, loses some significant time. Doc?
And a lot of drivers having trouble getting on the pit road. Here's our points leader, Carl Edwards. Watch what happens to him coming off of turn 4. Trying to get woed down. There's a commitment cone. He couldn't get there either.
Guys are running so hard coming through turn 3 and 4. They just flat miss it. They're going too quick and underestimating it.
Kevin Harvick in the AutoZone the Chevy on pit road as he heads back down at 45 miles an hour. By the way, David Gilliland a moment ago came by and he missed the cone and still came on the pit road. Here's Clint Boyer in the 2-car. Now a collision a moment ago between the 2 and the 59. Watch as Marcus Ambrose is trying to leave and Boyer's coming in.
Man, it just tore the nose right off the 59 of Marcus Ambrose. That's going to kill the aerodynamics.
Yeah, Marcus got the worst part of that. 29 cars in. How about it, Jamie?
And Jeff Burton, guys, he was free going in. He said that's gone, but he still needs an adjustment. He said he's tight in his center off. Now, Jeff Burton has the best average finishing position. He's had 4 starts here, finished 3rd all 4 times. He's hoping to get that victory here today.
And Carl Edwards finally did make it to pit road while he was coming down the pit lane after successfully getting in that time. He said, sorry about that, guys. Crew Chief Pierre Cattell said, don't worry about it. We'll have a good stop here. We got plenty of time to make it up. And Eric Almirola coming down the pit road now in the Gibbs 18 car. Driver started up front in the race in the 3rd position, but faded back a pretty good bit. They're going to make a 4-tire change here, try and help the grip on this car, see if they can get it to turn a little better in the corners for the 18.
All right, at the 59 car trying to get the pit road. Marcus Ambrose after that pit road incident.
Right side only, right side only.
He just pancaked the right side against the outside concrete up in turns 3 and 4. They get to work on the car. We'll show you what happened a moment ago as he was trying to get back around to pit road.
Yeah, it just goes from bad to worse for Marcus Ambrose. He got that damage in the pits, and then his car probably made it start pushing because it had no downforce after tearing the fender off, and it gets up out of the groove and into the wall. These guys are just trying to beat the fenders out, try to get the tires on here, try to salvage something out of the day. When this happens, all you can do is just go out there and ride around and try to salvage something.
Well, right now, the worst thing to do is to try to put the tire back on and send it out too quick, because that sheet metal, if you don't get it off that tire, you're running 200 miles an hour, guys, going down into turn 3. You blow that tire, that's going to hurt.
That's a crew chief's call. He shouldn't ever let that car out unless he knows it's safe to go on the track and it's not going to have any more problems.
We know the driver's sitting in the car and he's ready to go, and they can't let him go. Todd Cleaver on the top of the racetrack also. He's had a pretty good day, guys. He's kept that thing out of trouble and got a good-looking attitude. Look how low that car is in the front end. Looks like it's handling good for him.
Yeah, we see him running in the lead right now. He's first, and the reason is that he made a pit stop under that first caution flag, and then that put him out there where he could run a few more laps under green. We'll see him on pit road here shortly, but that's how he got the lead.
Yeah, he pitted on lap number 6. He's going to have to pit here in the next handful of laps or so. And by the way, David Gill in the 25 car was a pass-through penalty for missing the commitment cone, and the 28 car penalized for leaving pit road too fast, also another pass-through penalty.
See, Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick, they've been running really close all day long. Those are both Richard Childress Racing cars. Got the same setups, awful close. Those crew guys are talking. And, boy, when you look out the racetrack and you see them bumper to bumper, you know they've been definitely sharing information, that's for sure.
And we we've had another car just get up and have some close contact with the concrete here. The 27 of Ward Burton just made a pit stop a few laps ago.
Yeah, these guys are trying to move that groove up, but they haven't got it quite that high yet, and Ward gets up in the wall. Almost looks like Darlington, how these guys are running so close to it, and they're just kind of skimming it. Now, what Ward did won't hurt his car too bad. Now we see the leader, Todd Cleaver, in the pit.
And they've been battling a tight race car all day long. You see working on the left front fender there just at the end, trying to pull that out just a little bit because the air hitting that fender a little bit harder would help that car turn in the corners.
Yeah, we saw they got it pulled out just a little bit there. That always helps to get that thing as wide as you can on the left side.
I'll tell you what, we talked about a wide racetrack. Is that wide enough? They're running from the bottom to the top and knocking a wall down. In turn 1, in turn 2, into 3, Marcus Ambrose, in turn 4. So they're racing all over this place. It's not a single foul track, that's for sure.
Well, after everyone has been on and off pit road, they have cycled through, and Kyle Busch is now being shown as our leader in the 5 car.
The NASCAR Busch Series at Chicago, presented by Old Spice. Brought to you by Coppertone Sport, high-performance sunscreens. Arby's, I'm thinking Arby's. And Allstate, the official insurance sponsor of NASCAR.
Welcome back. Busch Series racing at Chicago, 75 of 200 laps complete. Now we know what this track is all about. Lots of grooves, fast racing, but what we didn't know is there were going to be a number of problems along pit road.
Yeah, it seems like the guys were really concentrating on hammering down on the racetrack and were missing the entrance to pit road. We saw Denny Hamlin come by. He couldn't get slowed down. Kyle Busch hits the entrance cone and makes it. And then we saw the leader, Carl Edwards, have the same exact problem a lap later. Just couldn't get slowed down and get onto pit road. Then we had some altercations on pit road. You see Marcus Ambrose right there. He tears the front end of his race car off, and then he goes out on the track. Obviously didn't have any downforce on the nose. Pushed up, hit the wall, pancaked the right side, and has to come back in.
Yeah, we should never forget there's so many key things to winning a race. It's not just about running well on the track. You also have to be able to execute those things as well.
Pieces and parts have to all line up, and the stars do too, in order to have a chance to win one of these things.
And it's a team sport as well, and that pit crew is just as important to winning the race as the driver.
They do their job. They keep you advanced all day long, and if your race car's not great, they get you positions on the racetrack by great pit stops.
Doc, let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, thank you very much. Kyle Busch still setting sail here. He has led the last 8 laps, the first time he has led today. And we talked about the anniversary a year ago of the announcement that Juan Pablo Montoya would come NASCAR racing. Now, he has come to Chicagoland Speedway as a competitor, but had a little contact with the Chicago concrete.
Well, he's another one of the guys working the top side of the racetrack and just jumps out on him. Gets up into that gray area where there's a lot of tire rubber and stuff built up. Pancakes the wall, but he's still going. Doesn't look like it hurt him too bad. Let's take a look from on board of the 90 car, Stephen Light. Juan just real high. Yeah, a little kiss. I don't know. He's still going, Andy.
Yeah, these guys are running just as hard as they could to try to stay in front of Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch was lapping these guys, and you saw him trying to just run as hard as they can, at least to stay with the leaders, so maybe they could get the lucky dog.
You drivers are all alike. How can you call contact at 180 miles an hour a little kiss?
Because we really didn't mean to do it, you know, and so it was our fault. Let's not make it a big deal.
Okay, here Kevin Moss, and NASCAR Busch flagman, waves the caution flag for the second time here on lap 79, and there is debris on the racetrack.
I'm surprised there's not a lot of debris on the track, as much contact as we've seen with these cars on the wall.
From all those little kisses.
Yeah, those little kisses. I'm sure there's a lot of debris out there.
Guys, I tell you, I don't know what it is this year, but everybody's running so high all year long, banging the wall. I mean, you think we're at Darlington, South Carolina every single race. Even at Daytona last week, and they're up there hitting that wall. And I've seen that a lot. I don't know if it's his new tire.
I think it might be the tire construction and the new tire. The characteristic of this tire they're running this year seems to make these cars want to run higher and higher on the track.
All right, crew chief, you pitted you're the leaders. You pitted 19 laps ago, or 20 laps ago now at lap 80. This is known for being a fuel mileage strategy kind of race. What do you do?
Well, we're going to get in the pits, and most of these guys, the front runners, are going to get 4 tires. We've got about 15 cars on the lead lap, and these guys are going to get in and the lead lap guys will get in there and get 4 tires, get another tank of fuel. I don't think you'll see any of these guys on the lead lap take 2 tires, because I think really the tires are just too important right now.
Well, right now we only got 15 cars in the lead lap. That first long run in the beginning of the race really killed a lot of these guys who's had bad handling race cars. They just couldn't fix them.
Yeah, but the race will be on the restart for these guys on the inside line trying to fight for that lucky dog.
Well, you got that right now. What it's done, it's bunch a lot of them up, let them come in and work on their car, get them back in the game.
And remember now, if they pit now, which they apparently are going to, they could make it on one more pit stop here. Well, so this pit stop could be pretty important in getting the car as full of fuel as you can. Safety car comes down, and so do some of the leaders. Let's head down to Mike.
And there was a lot of debate on the radio, guys, between Kyle Busch and Alan Gustafson. They weren't sure if they wanted to come down here. Alan, what he wanted to know was how much the tires actually fell off. At the last moment, they decided to come down pit road. The decision and the plan right now is just for 4 tires and fuel. No adjustments on Kyle Busch's car.
And Carl Edwards said all he could do was to keep from wrecking his 60 car in turns 1 and 2 this last run of the race. You see the wrench going in. They're going to make adjustments both left rear and right rear to try and help the rear grip on this car. He fell back to 7th after missing pit road earlier. He climbed up to 6th before the caution, Jamie.
And it was the same story for Denny Hamlin. They built up a little too much pressure on those front tires. He came in for fuel and 4 tires. Denny Hamlin having no problem finding his pit box on the second pit stop.
And as you look at the race off of pit road, Jeff Burton's guys gaining 3 spots. They have always been good throughout the 9 events he's run this year. Denny Hamlin up a couple. Kyle Busch loses 2. Greg Biffle gains 6 positions. Andy, why?
I think he took 2 tires there. I was just trying to scan the pit road, and I looked up, and here comes Greg Biffle off pit road real quick. So I think he got 2 tires, and that's how he got to the 6th spot.
And our lucky dog is former Busch Series and Nextel Cup champion Bobby Labonte, who will be able to get back on the lead lap. And now we will have 16 cars on the lead lap. He is the first car lap down, so he is our Aaron's lucky dog free pass winner, meaning he is waived by the pace car to get back on the lead lap.
And these lap down guys are going to be racing off pit road too to see who can get out first and line up inside that leader to try to get that lap back.
Again, we are under caution for the 2nd time today. The caution flag coming out on lap 79 for debris on the racetrack. As we take a break here, and all the leaders are on and off of pit road for 4 fresh tires. Let's check in with our in-race reporter here, Jeff Burton.
Jeff, Rusty Wallace, ABC, you got us? Looks like you got a great handling car, Jeff. You brought that thing to the front. It's been staying up front all day long. Is it driving the way you want, or you got a little more work to do yet?
Pretty good, Rusty. It's as free as I can stand it to be. I'd like it to turn a little bit better, but of course, get it turning too good. The back's around on it, so we're going to still work on that a little bit. Do this 2-tire deal here and see if we can learn something for later in the race. But I'm pretty happy with it.
All right, is your car working better on the bottom of the track or on the top of the track?
Tires, it was really high getting in the corner, really late arc, stayed out against the wall a long time, and a real late arc, and then got back to the bottom on exit. That seemed to be our best.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Pat Smith, Andy Petrie, got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Andy.
Hey, Pat, you guys got 2 tires right there. Any other adjustments that you made to your car, and do you think you're going to have to work on it some more?
No, we actually didn't get long enough into the prior run to know where it was going. So we figured we'd try right side now and wondered, just for a little track position here. Worried about some of the other ones on the lead lap trying to do the same thing, but we'll see how it works out.
Okay, 10-4. Have a good race there, Pat. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, Andy.
And there's Richard Childress, who owns the 29 car of Jeff Burton and the 21 of Kevin Harvick and the 2 of Clint Boyer. Longtime car owner, of course, and the guy you worked for a number of years, Andy, and won 2 Nextel Cup titles with Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah, he's the boss man. He's very involved in his race teams. You see him down there on pit road. You see him on the trucks in practice. He's very much a member of the team. And every race, I don't remember very many races, unless he was in Africa hunting or doing something like that he wasn't right there beside me on the pit box.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got a big job. He's got so many cars out there. Not only is he taking care of all those Cup cars, but the Busch cars, and he just can't get enough. He's talking about new drivers. He's talking about having a 4th team right now. He is a busy guy, but he really, really enjoys this sport.
He's what we call a racer. He really loves racing.
And right now, all 3 of his cars are in the top 8. There's the 21 car of Kevin Harvick back in 7th spot. Mike?
And Doc, you might want to pay attention to this car on the restart. He just radioed in, giving a warning to one of his teammates, telling Clint Bowyer's spotter to watch out on this restart because he feels like he might get a little bit sideways. A lot of adjustments on that race car the last 2 stops for Kevin Harvick.
But I guess he needs to be on guard, because if he's loose, he's going to have to back out of the throttle. He doesn't want to get run over from behind.
Well, a lot of times they know they're going to be loose at the start of this thing, and they got to get the 2 car off his rear end so he just doesn't get loose. He's like, give me 4 or 5 laps to get the tire pressures built up.
And there's the 88 car, Brad Keselowski, getting his first of 3 consecutive rides in the car owned by Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Navy Chevrolet. And Brad hoping to be able to take advantage of an opportunity as a 3rd-generation driver in a car owned by a 3rd-generation driver. Going back to green flag racing here at Chicagoland Speedway, and our in-race reporter, Jeff Burton, will lead him down into turn 1.
Got a great start. Looks like Kevin Harvick got a good start, too, with the 21. He got away clean.
And Jeff Burton has just set sail down that back straightaway and has pulled about a 10-car length lead over Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch.
Jerry, when you get in the front of these races and those restarts, you got that clean air, you got that downforce, and you don't have to negotiate with anybody out there. It's your ball game. You can get that clear run, and that makes the cars handle so better when you're getting total downforce on the car versus those cars behind him.
And these cars behind him got 4 tires. He's out there with just right side tires and about 20 laps on his left side tires.
But right now you see the RPMs 85, 8,600 in the RPM. These cars get close to 9,000 RPMs, when they're on fresh tires and really getting going.
Yeah, they may even turn more than that on the front stretch. I was going down the back stretch into turn 3, but they actually turn a little more RPM on the front side.
Well, you got a D-shaped front straightaway, a little longer run down the front straightaway, and especially off of turn 4, you really get the RPM built up. And yeah, probably about 200 to 300 RPMs less in the back straightaway.
His car looks real good. And these guys are probably paying attention. These other teams are watching this and know that Jeff Burton in the 29 car took 2 tires. And it looks like it's working pretty good early. These guys are going to keep an eye on him and see how this works for maybe a strategy play late in the race.
Rusty, as a driver, when you asked Jeff Burton, he said, we wanted to try 2 tires so I could find out something I could use for late in the race. What is he trying to figure out right now as he's driving the car, knowing he's got 2 used and 2 new tires on the car?
Well, right now, the car's either working or it's not working. The unfortunate part is I don't think he can come in and 2-tire this thing again. He's already did it once, and now the left sides are going to have too much wear on him, especially at a track like this where fresh tires, grip is everything in the world, but at least he knows what it's doing right now. Instead, at the very end, if he wants to try it one last shot, he'll have confidence, Jerry, what it's going to do for him. But the next stop, expect 4 tires out of him.
Moments ago, the 18 car had his troubles here with the outside wall. Let's take a look. Eric Almirola, right side of your screen, getting squeezed up to the outside.
Yeah, not much he could do right there. He just got squeezed by the 47 of Kelly Byers, and that was getting in the corner. This is not a place where you normally get in the wall, but these guys are 3 wide. Probably that 47 car. Byers probably didn't know he was out there.
Yeah.
Hold your line now.
No, Eric Almirola, he had a big opening right there. I would have went for that also, but Kelly didn't see him. He came up and just drove right in the left-hand side of him, totally unintentional. But, I would have done the same thing Almirola did. There was no problem. Now he's got the right side tore up in that car. Really got to watch for smoke and make sure he doesn't blow a right front tire out or something like that. Hit that wall pretty hard.
Yeah, Eric Almirola is the last car on the lead lap, being shown in 16th position. The guy they're chasing back up front, Jeff Burton, the Holiday Inn Chevrolet. Denny Hamlin behind him. Kyle Busch is 3rd. Matt Kenseth 4th. And the second Ford there is Carl Edwards in 5th position.
Yeah, didn't we ask?
Under caution here at Chicagoland Speedway, Eric Almirola has had his contact with the wall again here just a moment ago and brought out the yellow flag for the 3rd time today.
Yeah, he hit the wall earlier.
Cut it right front, getting it at 3.
Hold your line. All right, come on down. Come on down.
That's the problem you got when you bang in the wall and you don't bring it down pit road real quick. You know, he didn't see much smoke out of the back of that car, so he stayed out there. But, man, when you got all that metal around that tire, it just punctured it. That thing went down.
Here comes some leaders.
A lot of guys stayed out. Some didn't. As Denny Hamlin comes down, Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer. Let's go down to Mike.
And this caution could be a big break for Kevin Harvick. Just a couple of laps before the yellow flew, they were contemplating making a green flag pit stop. Why? Because Kevin felt like he might have had a left rear wheel coming loose. This is an opportunity to change all four and take on fuel without losing significant track position. Jamie.
Guys, Denny Hamlin, your pole sitter, was having issues with his battery going dead. It was down to 8 volts. They're changing that battery out. They're going to do full fuel, and they're going to make a track bar adjustment. So not the news Denny Hamlin wanted to hear. He's been running top 3 all day. You see him working on that left rear side, trying to change that out. They thought that that battery was going to go dead had they not come in, guys.
Yeah, I just don't like those little bitty batteries these guys run. There's enough room in the car to run a big battery, and they got to run a lead weight right in that same area. I don't understand why they have to put these little baby batteries in there. They have so much trouble with it.
I think it's monkey see, monkey do. They're all trying to save weight. They put these light batteries, but you're right. You know, that's where you got to put the left side weight. Why don't you just put 2 of them in there?
Yeah, putting a chunk of lead right beside of it, and I don't know why they wouldn't run a great big huge battery. If you got a big enough battery, it'll have enough reserve, even if you have an alternator problem, to finish the race with enough juice.
You know, short track racing a long time ago, we'd run 400 lap races. It had no alternator at all. We just run a battery. But now with the fans running the cars, things like that. But there's definitely room to put 2 batteries with a switch that goes in number 1 and number 2. A lot of teams have done it. It's really bit Hamlin right here, but at least they didn't lose a lap. You have to come from the back now to get it done.
He's got a fast race car. He can get back up to the front.
Oh, you see Denny Hamlin leaving pit road. He will not lose a lap because he was the first car at the end of pit road by being the pole sitter. And we are under caution. By the way, our Aaron's lucky dog is the 90 car, the City Financial Ford for Stephen Light. And he gets the free pass and will be back as the 16th car now on the lead lap. Once again, the caution number 3 on the day. Eric Almirola having cut a right front tire after that brief contact with the wall. And here is the 90 car just having to stop while Derek Cope pulls out. And a moment ago, a little communication between the driver of the 29 car, Jeff Burton, and the guys in the pits. Let's listen.
Anything I can do about this head cooler? Anything I can check?
Not getting nothing out of it. Your AC unit, is it not working?
Not working.
I'll try to get you a hose in there and things stop. Maybe we can do something with your helmet.
And Jeff Burton burning up in that cockpit. He's talking to his team how they're going to fix this AC problem, what they're going to do on this next stop. They're going to hand this hose in. What they're going to do is try to tie it to the window net so he can then, Jeff Burton, hook it inside his helmet, at least get that outside air coming in to cool him off. You can only imagine. I mean, it's probably 85 degrees out here under a caution. The guy's burning up, so the team's doing the best they can to work with their broken problem.
Yeah, Jamie, these guys have helmets and hoses that go in there, and they come from an air conditioning unit. This is actually cool air. Air conditioned air goes inside the helmet, and when that blower quits working, it gets extremely hot in there. So now what they'll do is put that hose on there, maybe at least get him some, like you said, just some fresh air in there, any air, just so he can breathe better.
Well, that's going to be tough to get that hose on that thing. You know, in fact, I'm looking behind him. It looks like the hose to his helmet is off. It's laying off. I'm not for sure. It just might have come unhooked from his helmet. I see it in our picture right here hanging off the back, but you know, it's 85, yeah, but boy, I don't know why he's getting so hot. I mean, when it's 100, they get pretty hot. He should be able to...
All right, for more information on the air conditioning and how that works as far as cooling the driver, log on to ESPN.com, search word safety. As you see Pat Smith there, the crew chief, and the driver. I wonder, you know, we've had a lot hotter days, but obviously Jeff Burton feeling some heat inside the car because they don't get a lot of air inside these cars.
There's not a lot of air in there, and the way they have their helmets and all these, you know, these things that go around for fire protection, there's just not a lot of air in there unless you force it in there with a hose.
I'll tell you what, guys, I got a question whether the hose is even hooked up to that helmet.
That may be the problem. Jeff's trying everything, trying to figure out if the blower's not working or what's going on. But it could be just the hoses unhooked.
From our camera shot, it looked like it's not even hooked up. I see it laying in the back, so.
I don't know. That hose that I see there may be an oil tank breather hose.
Yeah.
Well, here's the good news, though, for Jeff Burton and is the fact that he's leading the race here. He's the guy up front, so that'll help a little bit. That'll help a little bit in terms of his demeanor. As the pace car pulls away, it'll be Jeff Burton, followed by Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth as they go sailing down to the green flag once again.
Well, I tell you what, in that restart, that 5 car peeked outside trying to make a pass going into 1. He thought better of it, got right back in line. Pretty smart thing to do in that part.
And some of these lap cars running side by side trying to fight for that spot to be in that lucky dog position. Makes for some hairy racing for these lead lap cars trying to get around these guys.
And I tell you, 3 wide behind the pack. Look at them coming off of turn 4. Those restarts, man, they hairy. You see Clint Boyer. Looks like he didn't get a good start. Got stuck on the high side of the racetrack. Might have a lot of buildup on the tires or something here.
Let's see if we can see again what happened. Now watch the 2 car, middle of your screen, get really loose here coming up off the corner.
He's right up behind these guys running 2 and 3 wide, and a lot of that air is just real turbulent, and he just lost the car a little bit, lost a little bit of air on the spoiler and got sideways.
He did a good job gathering that up. You know, it was coming off of turn 4. We had a little room to let it run out to the wall to hold on to the car. And if you're going to have it happen anywhere, I'd rather have it happen off of 4 because the track kind of moves away from you versus the exit of turn 2 where you lose the banking.
Yeah, Jeff Burton got away from these guys on that last restart, but Kyle Busch is giving him everything he wants right here.
Well, you know, I believe the 4 tires that Kyle Busch has got versus Burton's 2 tires is probably doing something. You know, in that run earlier, he got gone when those right sides were fresh. Now, since they got some time on him, kind of equalized with the 5 car, Kyle Busch now.
Real equalizer is that clean air on the front end of that 29, and as long as he can keep that car out in front of the 5 car, it's going to make it difficult for him to make the pass. We see he opens up that bottom lane, and this might be the opening Kyle Busch is looking for.
Kyle Busch trying to hug the bottom groove, slides up 1 groove and slides up right in front of the 29 car and takes the lead away here as it will come by this time for the halfway flag. Can Burton get back? No, he can't get the car pulled to the inside to be able to pull up on the 5 car. Now, we were talking a moment ago about the helmet issues inside the 29 car. There's a look at Jeff Burton and trying to ventilate the helmet. For more, let's check in down in our Chevy Cutaway car with Tim Brewer.
Jerry and Russ, as you well know, there's 2 ways to get air into this helmet. You're going to feed it in through a hose that's coming from the air conditioner deal, or you're simply going to raise the visor up. If you raise the visor up, you can breathe a little bit better, but at the same token, you're going to get debris in your eyes. So, you know, the hose coming off, big minus for the guy in the car, especially on a hot day. Back to you, Jerry.
Yeah, Tim, the only problem with that is putting that shield up, and you can get a little bit of air that way. There's also a lot of debris can get in these guys' eyes. They don't have anything to protect their eyes except for that shield.
Well, one thing you got to look at, Andy, look at our in-car shot. His visor's popped open about a ½ an inch, so he's got it up a little bit. He knows he's got to get some type of air through there. Now, look, one thing I looked at about Burton, he's got that whole helmet sock.
You see him sticking his hand out the window, trying to just pull some air inside the car. He's struggling a little bit there. He needs some air.
Yeah, Jim, you got more?
Yeah, guys, he keeps radioing back. Gosh, I can't believe how hot it is in here. And it's still connected to his helmet. It's come disconnected from the AC unit that's on the right side underneath our camera shot. So the crew is watching that closely. They're hoping for a caution so they can come in and hopefully relieve their driver.
Yeah, I can't reach it. I'm trying.
You see the guys down in the pits fabricating a little funnel hose so they can get some air in there. Maybe tie wrap that to the window net.
Well, we're halfway through this race. He's got a long way to go, and if he's uncomfortable right now, he's got a big race tomorrow. He's got to think about that.
Millions of dollars in race cars and engine, and they're using a paper cup to keep the driver cool. Just imagine the incredible ingenuity. Will they be able to get Jeff Burton cool? Right now, he is the hot ticket on the racetrack, though. 95 laps to go. Back with more live coverage in a moment.
This ESPN telecast of the NASCAR Busch Series on ABC is available in high definition on ABC HD, presented by Vizio. More than halfway home at Chicagoland. We'll get you caught up on the highlights with our race rundown. The race stopped with double-duty drivers. Busch today, Cup tomorrow. Trouble early for one. Ryan Newman loves racing here, gets loose, no saving it on lap 3, and wrecks a brand new car. And then early on, Brad, lots of good battles for first.
Yeah, we had a little dicing going on up front. Matt Kenseth, Denny Hamlin really going after it. Kenseth gets that clean air on the front of the nose of that race car. He takes off. So we had some good racing early, but right now they've kind of pulled away.
And problems on pit road, tough getting in and getting out.
No one could seem to, especially the leaders, Denny Hamlin and Carl Edwards, back-to-back, couldn't find the entrance to pit road. It cost them some valuable time, but they got great race cars, and they've made that up.
And Jeff Burton was the race leader for 15 laps. Now he's sitting in second. His problem, struggling for air getting into his helmet.
Jeff is really hot in that race car. He can't get any fresh air in there. The hose on his helmet has come off, so he's struggling a little bit. He's going to have to be mentally tough and wait till he can get another caution to get that helmet fixed.
And as he struggles, Kyle Busch is back on top as the race leader. He has 3 straight top 10s. Let's get up to speed, beginning with Mike Massaro.
Well, Susie, this morning, Kyle Busch's car chief, Mike Bumgarner, told me that this race was, quote, a guessing game. He really had no idea what type of car they had because after practice yesterday, they were so tight they changed about everything they could on the front geometry. Obviously, they've guessed pretty well. They're way out front. Jamie?
And Jeff Burton, you know, he started 14th. He came all the way through the pack. He was leading for a while, and his AC unit went out, as we've been talking about. And as Brad said, the amazing concentration this man has to withhold right now, going through this heat trauma he's dealing with. He keeps saying how hot he is, but so far, guys, he's holding it together, hasn't fallen outside the top 2 since the problem. Mike?
Early on in the race, it appeared that Matt Kenseth was a little bit tight and had a little bit of a problem entering turn number 1. But at the end of the last run, right before pit stops, Matt radioed in saying he felt like the car and the track was really coming to him. He feels like this is the best his car has been all day. Alan?
And Carl Edwards running next to the line in 4th spot, Mike. Even though he'd like his car to be handling better right now, the bottom line on it is Carl still hasn't recovered from missing that entry to pit road. We showed you a minute ago in the race recap. That dropped him back to 7th spot. He's only made his way back up to 4th spot, and he hasn't challenged for the lead since. Mike?
Just before the last pit stop, we told you that Kevin Harvick thought he had a vibration, a loose wheel on the left rear. Well, they checked the studs, they checked the hub, and found nothing wrong. Kevin Harvick radioed in recently saying the vibration is gone and the car is good. Guys?
And Mike, Kevin Harvick restarted here just a moment ago back in 14th. He has now just sailed this car all the way to 5th. And this is a guy on a mission.
It really is. These guys, are the top 4 cars are running within 0.2 of a second on the racetrack. Just the track position is what the difference is right now. The 5 car got out, but the speeds have really stabilized. In fact, Jeff Burton that last time by was actually faster than Kyle Busch.
Yeah, he's hanging right with him right here.
All right, Kyle Busch trying to hold back on. He has now reassumed the lead. He has led twice for 20 laps. We have 84 laps to go here at Chicagoland of the checkered flag.
Chicago is a very fast place. It's not your typical cookie-cutter racetrack.
The groove's moved up on the racetrack quite a bit. You dive off turn 1 and it just slams you down in the corner.
Busch cars are underpowered, so you have to drive them as hard as they can possibly go.
You're going to be able to move around quite a bit throughout the race and make your car work better in different places on the racetracks.
It's a great racetrack. I'm really looking forward to getting there. I like to go fast.
Wide open racing here in Windy City. We are just about 35 miles southwest of Chicago here in Joliet, Illinois. And there is the guy they're chasing, the 5 car of Kyle Busch. And behind him, an overheating driver-wise, Jeff Burton, who has lost the vent hose, or the air conditioning hose that blows cool air on the driver, but he is hanging on back in 2nd spot.
Yeah, he's actually gaining on Kyle Busch. It's not that little problem he's got with his helmet's not hurting him at all. He's actually gaining ground on the leader right here.
Now he's toughing it out right now because he just ran just a little bit quicker every single lap than Kyle Busch, and you see he's getting closer. And
he's got a little debris on that grill. I don't know if his water temp's going up or not, but he does have some debris on his front grill.
You know, he's not running on the bottom. He's not running on the top. And like you say, a little bit of debris, a little more downforce maybe. Maybe it's making it handle better that way.
All right, and one of the cars we saw had a handful a little bit ago was Clint Boyer in the 2 car. Alan?
Well, Doc, we talked about how this race is decided on fuel strategy a lot of times in the recent past. Well, Dan Deeringoff, Clint Boyer's crew chief, was one of the few who called his driver in for fuel under that last yellow. And then he got a call from the boss.
I have a problem there. I thought everyone was coming to get gas there, Richard. We got a little gas. Can you make it all the way from here? We'll go about 12 laps further than anybody else can now. Do you no good if you can't make it if you ain't gonna win it. It's very stupid, though.
Oh, don't you hate it when you're at work and you get that call from the boss questioning something you just did, right? Well, Boyer gave up 8th position, fell back to 12th. Then when he had that handful off turn 4, Doc, you were talking about, he fell back to 15th. Unlike Kevin Harvick, who was back there with him on the restart and charged up through, Boyer hasn't gone anywhere. He's only made his way up to 12th spot now. And, as you heard Childress say, they're not in a window to go on fuel from there either.
But they do have about a 12-lap buffer over the other cars. You see the 2 car now, as you heard Alan say he was in 12th. Now make that 11th as he goes by the 10 car of Dave Blaney.
He's running 32.60s. He's running about 0.2 slower than his teammate Kevin Harvick right now. Hey, it's Denny Hamlin, man. He has been on that wall all day long. Look at the lead. He's challenging for it right now. Burton, that car's a little quicker, and he is toughing that thing out. He's super hot in the car. He's running on the bottom of the racetrack.
This shows you how tough Jeff Burton is. He doesn't give up any. There's no give up in this guy.
These same 2 drivers, these same 2 cars at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The 5 car set on the pole, led the most laps, didn't win the race. Why? Because the 29 car got back around him. Same thing happened in California with the 5 car and the 17. So we've seen this this chapter before here on a 1.5 mile race.
We really have. I'll tell you another chapter getting ready to unfold. Those are 20 car Denny Hamlin, like I was talking a little while ago. Let's follow him around just a little bit, guys. He has been glued to that wall. We talked about Darlington, South Carolina, how high the guys run. Take a look at Denny. He drives in, he sneaks up against the wall, and he's been doing that in both corners.
And here's these 2 guys. They got together at Daytona in the Cup race, and here they're running side by side in the Busch race. They're not teammates today, but they were teammates at Daytona, and they will be in the race tomorrow.
All right, with more on Denny Hamlin, let's check in with Jamie Little.
Yeah, guys, and as of yesterday morning, the 2 had not spoken to each other since that incident last weekend. And as you said, they're not teammates right now on the track, but these guys, as we know, both have a great deal of respect for one another. But Denny Hamlin, he had that battery issue. They actually had to swap out the battery on his car. He slipped all the way outside of the top 20. He's fought his way all the way back. His bolts on the battery are back up. They know that was the issue. Denny Hamlin was your pole sitter. He now is running in the 8th position.
Tell you what, it's just a matter of time before, when your guy runs that far up against the wall every single lap, he's got to slip one time and bang outside of that wall. It just seems every single race I see this, and he's not giving himself any room at all every single corner.
Wow, that's close right there, too. That can't be more than about 3 or 4 inches away from that wall.
It is a 300-mile race. I think Denny Hamlin's going to run about 320 miles, running that far on the top of the racetrack. And right in front of these 2, as Hamlin tries to get to the outside of Biffle, is the 24 car. And that is Casey Mears, who won this race a year ago. There's Casey in the 24 car in the 6th position.
Now take a look at the run the 20 cars got coming off the corner. When you make the corner that big and keep those Busch Grand National motors wound up like that, let's take a look at this one more time. Here he comes to the middle of turn 1 and 2. He's coming off of 2. And just coming off a 4 now. I mean, it's getting a lot of momentum right past the 16 of Greg Biffle.
Makes it look easy with that momentum run.
And with more on Biffle, let's check in with Dave.
And he's just losing these spots now. He restarted 5th and fell back to 7th, but really has been holding his spot. The amazing thing is, as he sees a gaggle of cars right in front of him, he did not change tires on the last stop. They kept the tires on that they had. They're much older, but Greg liked the balance of the car. Crew Chief Eddie Pardue told me, we based that decision based on what we saw in practice. We didn't have much tire wear. We knew the car could handle it, and sure enough, when they take the tires off, they expect to see a lot of wear, but nothing severe for Greg Biffle. He's been holding his own until now.
Let's take a look at this run that Denny Hamlin got on Greg Biffle. Coming down the back straight, almost like a bump draft. Look at that little tap right there.
That is a bump draft.
It's kind of like, get out of my way, man. That's how much run you get off the corner. It actually makes your driver feel like he got almost 50 to 60 horsepower more, maybe more than that. It's a real good feeling when you're a driver.
And when you can make that top side of the racetrack work, it's real easy because nobody's up there. You hardly have anybody in your way, and you get that big momentum run off the corner.
Here's the bad part. The bad part is this. It works really good for Denny Hamlin right now, but he doesn't have any room for a mistake. As running as high as he is,
it's risky.
It is very risky. If he slips just a little bit, Andy, I mean, the great run he's having now could go out the window.
And he had just been able to go by the 24 car, so Hamlin now moves up one more position in the 6th spot. With 67 laps to go, they're all chasing Burton and Busch.
Well, Welcome back to Chicagoland, NASCAR Busch Series Racing. We talk about double-duty drivers. The top 6 in this race right now, already winners this year. You saw Harvick, Hamlin, Jeff Burton, 2 wins this season. Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth. Edwards with 4 wins this year. It's a lot of start power.
Well, it is, and you know, it's a lot of our Cup drivers, and it just speaks to the fact not only do these guys have great equipment, they are great race car drivers, and that's why they're up front every time they come to this series to race.
You have a favorite right now?
Oh man, I'll tell you, I still think Kyle Busch is fast, but Kevin Harvick is coming. They better keep an eye on that 21 car.
Biggest surprise in the top 10?
Biggest surprise in the top 10, I would have to say maybe Greg Biffle. He really hadn't had a good year this year. He struggled in both series, and we know he's a great race car driver, but you know, he's actually having a decent run today, and he's got a pretty good race car.
And Jeff Burton's had a lot of luck here. 4 Busch starts at Chicagoland, 4 third-place finishes. Maybe today will be the first win. Doc?
Thank you very much, Susie. Jeff Burton, the only driver with 4 top 5 finishes. As you take a look at our Castrol GTX lap leaders here, with just 59 laps to go, you see Kyle Busch has led the most laps. Jeff Burton very close, needs 3 more to tie Kyle. Edwards, Hamlin, Kenseth, Cleaver, and Eric Almirola has led a single lap in the 18 car. And speaking of Carl Edwards, well, he is headed toward the front in a hurry. Good laps for Carl Edwards, and so is the 21 car of Kevin Harvick. Both these guys are making their way toward the front.
Kevin's been out running Edwards a lot, but those two keep in and up together because of the traffic they keep having to pass. Edwards will get a big run, then all of a sudden I run up in traffic and it closes them back up. But every single time they go by, the lap times are different every single lap, so they can't get any rhythm built right now. Alan, you got more?
Yeah, Rusty, just been listening to the communication back and forth between Carl and Pierre Catella's crew chief on that 60 car and what they want to do on this very crucial pit stop. The pit stop is going to come up in about another 10 laps for the 60. Some of the other leaders may stop sooner, and they've got to get this adjustment right. They've been talking about making adjustments to both the left rear and right rear on the track bar and wedge bolts to try and help Carl get the grip under him in the corners. He said the car's just sliding all over the place right now.
Now see these guys chasing the line. Kevin Harvick was running right up next to the wall the run before this, and now he's back up there. But I saw him run about a handful of laps on the bottom to probably see how his car was handling, so he could see where he really needed to make an adjustment on his car.
Well, he makes some ground on the top side, then all of a sudden the next lap he'll lose it. So he goes back to the bottom and hunts around the bottom of the track and runs back up on him. You can see I don't see any rhythm going on here right now. They're chasing the track a lot, trying to find the best spot for their condition.
All right, and by the way, give a call to Brad Keselowski in the 88 car. He has gained, there's a look at Brad making his first start for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He has gained 8 positions since the restart on lap 99. He's now being shown back up in 17th spot. He is the second car a lap down. Well, here's a car on the pit road. Last year's winner, Casey Mears, the first to make a pit stop. He's headed down toward you, Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, going to pit from 10th position here, Doc, and they have struggled to get the handling under this car all day as well. They have trouble with the front grip on the car.
Yellow's out, wreck and turn.
Caution's out.
Wreck and turn 3.
And this is a bad break for Casey Mears because he's going to get caught on pit road when the caution's out. The question is he able to stay on the lead lap or not before the field gets picked up by the pace car?
It's going to be close.
And here comes Casey Mears. You see the damage on a 36 car, Brent Sherman, and Casey Mears is hustling. He cannot speed down pit road. He's trying to get down there, and he will get by before the pace car comes out. As I see the pace car sitting at the end of pit road there in turn 1. So, boy, he got lucky. And there's the some of the debris off of the cut tire from the 36 car.
But it looks like he didn't get out before the 20 car passed him.
That's just a tough break, and it's so hard to make that call when you make that pit stop. Sitting on pit road, and then wow, you see that 36 car. You can tell just how fast these cars are going. You see that car turn around backwards, and the back end just flies up off the ground.
Well, one thing you got to realize, Andy, you're right. These guys are actually running faster than they do at Daytona or Talladega in straightaway speed. Close to 200. Daytona, you're 180 or something like that.
That was a pretty spectacular crash right there, but it looks like he's okay. He's going to drive it back to the pit. Car's not okay.
And remember the 29 story? We talked about they wanted to be able to make a pit stop and make some adjustments on the car and get some air to the driver, Jeff Burton, as we are working caution number 4 here with just 54 laps to go.
Pits are open this time, guys. Pits are open.
Well, this is what they call the money stop. They got to get it done here. They can make it on fuel. You've got to get your car on and off pit road. Is it 2 tires? Is it 4 tires? And how about an air hose there for Jeff Burton to be able to get a little ventilation these final 50 laps?
Tell you what, they can't mess around too much because there's only 54 to go, and he's been leading this race tough in and out. I wouldn't waste any time at all to trying to cool him down right now if he could stand it, because he can't afford to lose any time at all.
All right, these guys on pit road are going to have a chance to win it for their driver. Can they do it? Mike.
Kyle Busch a little bit tight from the center off, but otherwise very happy. His big request, he just wants to pull off a tear off and get a drink of water, 4 tires and fuel. Alan?
Center of the screen when Carl Edwards gets to his pit stall. Watch for wrenches to go in both the left rear and right rear corner of the window, needing grip all the way around the racetrack to try and help him contend for the win, Dave. Jamie.
And Jeff Burton is in. We've been talking about how hot he is. His crew chief, Pat Smith, came over the radio, said, can we get you some water, some ice, Gatorade? He said all of the above, guys, but I don't want to lose any time. You see them putting that air hose through the window. Jeff's going to have to disconnect the hose in his helmet, hook that one on, and they actually put a filter on the end of that hose. It's going to hang out his window and hopefully bring some of that outside air in, guys.
All right. And they only lost 1 position on pit road. Wow, that was pretty good for all that work it did on the Jeff Burton car. Kyle Busch gained a spot. Jeff Burton back in second. We'll have to try to pass him again. Great work for Pat Smith and the Holiday Inn guys as they got on the pit road for what could be the final stop of the day here at Chicagoland Speedway. There's the race off of pit road, and just by that much, Kyle Busch in the 5 car beats Jeff Burton. Green flag when we come back.
It's hanging out the car. I don't want to get us in trouble here.
And back in Chicagoland Speedway, final caution, or 4th caution of the day, what could have been the final pit stop. And we've been following the saga of Jeff Burton trying to get some fresh air. They got the hose in the car. The question is it going to be functional enough to give some air to the driver?
Jerry, it's hanging out right now, but I don't think it's going to come out of the car. It's taped on really good. I don't think that is a safety hazard whatsoever. The problem is he wanted that to cool him down, and it's not doing anything at all right now. But if I was NASCAR, I wouldn't do anything about it. It looks like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, they've got it tie wrapped to one of the side bars there, so it should be in position pretty well, and he's in position to win this race if he can hold on. He's in 2nd position behind Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick behind him, and Matt Kenseth behind them as we get set for what should be a 50-lap shootout. Chicagoland Speedway known for great finishes here in the NASCAR Busch Series, and Kyle Busch is the 5 car. He's the leader. The 24 car is the last car on the lead lap, and that is Casey Mears, and he had the option to go around or lead him down, and Mears is in front of the 5 car as they head back to the green flag.
Casey Mears he gets out of there, gets gone. He's hoping for a caution flag to come out right now. He's at the tail end of the lead lap, and he's not going to give up, because if he does, he's for sure going to go a lap down.
So for Casey Mears right now, it's drive it like you stole it. Do all you can to stay out front. Meanwhile, let's check in on what's happened, what the situation is with Jeff Burton, because I think Jamie is standing by with his crew chief, Pat Smith.
Pat Smith, we're watching that air hose dangle. What kind of problems can this cause, and are you worried about it?
There's nothing we can do about it. We just had to give an effort. He has no fresh air coming to him, so we thought we'd be able to get that tied up on there, so we'll just have to let it hang.
I heard you say on the radio, just for Jeff to watch it, you didn't want to get in trouble from NASCAR. Do you think they'll say anything about that?
I don't think so, but it's just the right thing to do. You know, we try not to cause any undue cautions for any reason. Nothing they can penalize as far as just be a caution for us.
And we have a caution on the track, guys.
All right, Jamie, trouble here. The 37 car, somewhat of a replay as of what happened in the late laps at Daytona a week ago. Jamie McMurray, his car goes sliding off of turn 4, goes through the grass, and he will bring it back out, but that will bring out caution for the 5th time here today.
That's a great break for 2 different drivers. Casey Mears gets his lap back the old-fashioned way. He just stayed in front of the leader. But then the 88 car, Brad Keselowski, should be the lucky dog. He was the first car 1 lap down.
That was like a 2-for-1, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a great break for both of these guys.
Boy, Casey Mears was driving it for all it was worth. Brad Keselowski done a heck of a job, and now he will be able to go onto the lead lap after climbing 8 spots since that previous restart. He's the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass Award winner. Let's see if we can show you exactly what happened with the 37 car to bring out this caution.
You're right. Got one spin here. Stay up high. All clear. No caution. Keep digging. Caution's out.
That was David Rudiman's in-car camera we're looking at.
Jamie McMurray will bring it down because that slide cost him some tires. He'll put 4 fresh Goodyears on it. He'll come back out and be set to go green with about 45 laps to go. Still under caution here at Chicagoland Speedway here for the 5th time today. You know, one of the NASCAR drivers nominated for an Jimmy Johnson, and earlier in the week Jimmy gave us a chance to follow him around and watch some of the rehearsals taking place at the Kodak Theater.
ESPY time.
Yeah, hey, welcome. Big night presenting for myself, which I'm excited for. Been up for 2 great awards and looking forward to it. I have the whole thing memorized and now I forget how it starts. You know, it's like, let's see here. The 2070 Yankees, the 72 Dolphins, and the 1980 USA. USA hockey team. I think Peyton's the favorite. I think Peyton's season and ours are very similar, where we've both been very close but haven't had a championship.
Nominated for the 2nd award.
We had your coach out trying to teach him how to drive. Dude, he tore the thing up. I know I'm inside the top 12. Mr. Johnson, how are you?
How do you think your odds are weighing out to win?
NASCAR driver Jimmy Johnson here.
I met Ben Roethlisberger on the way in.
Congratulations on all the success.
Thank you. Just saw on television. It was amazing. Where we're going.
And the fans have decided ESPY goes to.
And as we go back to the green flag racing here at Chicagoland, you can catch all the pomp and pageantry of the ESPYs coming up tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Presented by Hummer and Under Armour, co-hosted by Jimmy Kimball and NBA star LeBron James. Should be a lot of fun. And of course, by the way, Kevin Harvick also nominated in 2 categories: Best Driver category and Best Finish for that 2/100ths of a second win over Mark Martin in this year's Daytona 500.
Well, right now you talk about Harvick. He's on a roll right now, working the bottom side of that track, running Burton down. And that restart was a key restart. I really thought that the 29 of Burton could have got alongside the 5 car of Kyle Busch. It didn't happen. He got single foul again here.
It looks like these Childress cars are trying. It looks like the 21 car might be just a tick better than the 29 car of Jeff Burton at this point.
Well, right now, the last time by, Kyle Busch ran a 32.60 compared to Kevin Harvick, 33 flat. So he's putting about 0.4 a second on him per lap, which is pretty big time right now.
Kind of wait till they get strung out and get built up, some speed built up. We can see who will have the advantage here.
I'll tell you what, that time by, Andy, it did the same thing.
And one car slowing down in the back of this pack, just pulled down across the racetrack. That is Greg Biffle in the 16.
I don't know. I think I got a flat.
4 tires, come on.
He thinks he's got a flat tire. We don't see one obviously flat from in the camera angles we see, but still could be low on air. One of the tires can be low.
Well, Greg Biffle didn't have any bad luck. He wouldn't have any luck at all. He's driven his heart out this year in the NASCAR Busch Series. And just can't catch a break.
You know, I don't see anything flat on that car when it went by. Like Andy said, and a lot of times you can get some rubber buildup on a car, on the tires, and it feels like you got a flat. Tell you what, it's going to be. I don't see anything wrong.
Dave?
Greg Radio during that caution, you know, this thing sounds really weird. It just sounds like something's ready to break. And it was really twitchy on that last one. He said, 1 lap I'm catching my teammate Carl Edwards. The next lap I'm losing 3 spots. So don't know what the problem is right here. We'll check and see if all 4 tires were up.
Yeah, just no choice but to change 4 tires in this situation because you can't tell which one's flat. So you just got to go ahead and get it, because if you try to get 2, then you're going to have to come back and get the, you think 50-50 shot, but it's never 50-50. Here we got the 15 car, Paul Menard. We see coming in our picture, he's driven that car all the way up into the top 10. He's in the 7th spot right now, and he's had a really good race today, and he's making some headway here at the end of the race. Just moved by the 20 car of Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Paul Menard making his 7th start of the year. trying to improve on his 9th place finish at Texas. Mike?
Well, guys, it was a work in progress for Paul Menard. The car started off just a little bit off balance, they felt. They made some adjustments, but he radioed in just before the last round of pit stops, telling his team that the car is at the peak performance level, right where he wants it to be. He says it's the best it's been all day.
Well, this is the best time to have it in its best condition at the end of the race.
Well, he's worked on it all day long trying to get it right. Now he's got a good car. You know, take a look at the 20 car Denny Hamlin there going by. I mean, he's been the guy all day long, and now he's falling back with it. Casey Kane.
And Casey Kane's been in the top 10 all day long, but he just can't move up to the top 5. We got Tony Stewart working the bottom side on him, trying to get by in the 33 car.
Remember at Lowe's Motor Speedway back in May, Casey Kane hung in the top 10 until about the last 30 laps and then started to move toward the front is how he gets a challenge from the 33 of Tony Stewart. And how about the 24, Casey Mears? Last year he wanted it on fuel mileage, had a good run, but they had a really good call on fuel mileage. A moment ago he had to come off a pit road and just drive his heart out to stay in front until the caution came out, and now he's trying to move underneath the 9 car for position.
Well, he doesn't have any fuel mileage issues this time. He's just got a flat good car. He's got that lap back, and now he's a guy on a mission. It's like he's got a chance again. It feels really good when you get that lap back and you know you're not have that pressure on you.
He had an unlucky break when he got the caution while he was on pit road, and then he got the break of getting the caution when he needed it when he got out in front of the leader. Now he's making the most of it.
And what about our lucky dog winner just a moment ago, the 88 car, talking about Brad Keselowski, who had gained so many spots to become the first car a lap down and then got the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap.
Well, Jerry, let me tell you, he's been running some pretty respectable lap times. You know, he's been in the top 15 when it comes to lap times, and his times are moving around a little bit, but this is a great run for this kid and this team, too, because they got to build some momentum. Dale Jr. said, hey, I'd drive this car if I could to get it back on track, but he's doing it.
And a trouble at the 18 car again. Eric Almirola spins around and comes to rest on the inside of the back straightaway. Gets it fired now. Will pull back off the grass. And that will bring out the yellow for the 6th time today here with just 35 laps to go.
We got 16 cars on the lead lap. And some of these guys at the back part of this may come in here and try to get tires. But I don't think these leaders will pit here. They can make it all the way on the fuel they have. And they'll probably be reluctant to give up that track position.
I would say there's probably not many tires left down. They probably used up their allotment of tires. I mean, we've had quite a few cautions for these guys to stop and get the tires under. So I think what they got is they got probably.
And the 41 car, Reed Sorensen, and he gets the free pass, the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass, being the first car lap down. So that will now put 17 cars back on the lead lap here with less than 35 laps to go. See what happened to Eric Almirola coming down the back straightaway here a moment ago. As he spun the car and brought out the caution, here they come down toward turn 3.
Looks like he got right in front of Kyle Krisloff and just got loose and just lost it.
Maybe he wasn't quite clear. He thought he was clear and just moved right up on Kyle Krisloff. These cars are really moving. Things happen quick when you're going that fast.
Yeah, right in front of Kyle Krisloff, and he spins it right around and comes across the grass. You can see how the backstretch sort of turns down the middle of the backstretch here into turn 3. It's not a straightaway. It's a back curve away.
Curve away. Thank gosh it is, because it gave them all a little bit more room before they hit the wall. Nobody hit the wall. If that straightaway would have been straight, they'd have probably hit it.
Just a slight miscalculation on Eric Almirola. Thinking he was just about clear.
And all the leaders behind the pace car. Will they come? Will they not? Will they stay? Is it track position time? Well, here comes Kyle Busch, and they...
4100.
Oh,
Burton goes back out.
Busch stays in, and Burton comes out. So who snookered who on that? But Kyle Busch is coming down pit road as these guys stayed on the racetrack. Let's go to Mike.
And Doc, still a little bit tight from the center off for Kyle Busch. This is the money stop. They didn't make any adjustments last time, but this time around, they're going to go up one round on the track bar, and it appears to be a 4-tire stop for Kyle Busch now as they swing around to the left side of the car. Alan?
And Carl Edwards, a long debate on their radio about whether or not to pit. They decided to pit, 4-tire change. They just didn't feel like they were fast enough to win the race in the condition that they were in. Jamie?
Carl Edwards, he comes on the pit road. Okay, I got to ask you, Andy, if you're the crew chief there, what do you do? Which way would you have called it?
Well, I would have called it to stay out right there, and I saw Jeff Burton, he was coming down pit road, looked just like he was coming down there, and then at the last second just turned the car to the right. I think he just kind of snookered him a little bit.
Speaking of snookered him, let's check with the guy who did it, our in-race reporter, Jeff Burton.
Jeff Burton, Rusty Wallace, ABC, you got us?
Rusty, I got you, bud.
Man, I know you're hot out there. You hanging in there okay with us?
I'm okay.
All right, boy, I tell you, that was great strategy. You're out there staying out. It looks like Kyle Busch going to come out about 8th or 9th, stuck in the back of the pack there. Albus, you got a pretty good car. Are you happy with that decision?
Yeah, I think we did the right thing for sure. Holiday Inn Chevrolet seems like it's better, actually with air pressure in the tires, and he's going to be coming like he's going to be coming like he always does. But I think we did the right thing for us, and that's all we can worry about.
All right, Jeff, bring her on home. Thanks for talking to us.
One to go this time, boss. One to go.
All right, here's again what happened here on this caution flag. The leaders behind the pace car coming out of turn 4. Now, there's an orange cone. You have to be in or out of it if you're going to come on the pit road. Watch the 5 come down, the 29-21 behind him. Now, watch Burton hard right.
Tell you what, that was a good move right there.
That was a great fake.
I mean, you look from this angle, it looks like he's ready to take his rear bumper off. He just carved right back up there. Let's watch this from onboard.
If Jeff Burton's able to win this race, I tell you, that has to be the move of the race right there.
And great move by Jeff Burton. Speaking of moving, Greg Biffle's moved back to the garage area, and Alan Bessick has caught up with him.
And I just pulled him out of a big huddle with Eddie Pardue and the rest of his team. You figured out what happened, Greg?
Well, I don't know. I think there was some debris on the backstretch we ran over. I'm not sure. Maybe that's what that last caution was for. But our exhaust is falling apart on the car. It's been falling apart for quite a while. It sounds really bad. And I've got 2 flat right rears in a row there, and I just don't want to, I do this for fun. I don't want to get hurt, and we got a problem with pieces coming off the race car flattening the right rear tire from our exhaust system. But with further inspection, it may look like there might have been something on the track, but all the welds are broken in the exhaust as well, so it's a matter of time before pieces start coming off it.
All right, Greg, thanks for the time.
Boy, someday this guy's going to get some luck again. He's a heck of a race car driver. Just needs a break and be able to get a win now. Here's our Holiday Inn Chevrolet, and let's take a look at our Crown Royal crowning moment here this afternoon. Under caution here. And Kyle Busch tries to stay on the pit road, but no, the 29 and 21 turn hard right and come back on the racetrack. And let's check in and see what the Busch thinking was as Mike is in the 5 pit.
Well, let's get a word now with Alan Gustafson. Now, Alan, obviously that was a chance you felt you needed to take. What do you think now if you look at the board and see how many guys stayed out?
I think it was the right call for this Delphi Spectre side at Lowe's Chevrolet. The car's been real good all day long. The guys done a great job in the pits, and Kyle's done a really awesome job on the racetrack. Depending on cautions and how they fall in track position lap cars, we'll see if we win the race or not. But I think we will. I'd rather be the guy shooting than being shot at. So
30 laps ago, it appears, when we do go back to green flag racing. Is that enough time to bypass those cars and get to the front?
Yeah, if it's green, we'll get them.
A lot of confidence down here, guys. They won last week, and that's what a win will do.
All right, 9 of the 16 cars on the lead lap opted to pit, including the guy who was the leader, Kyle Busch. We mentioned the other ones that came on the pit road: Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, Casey Mears, J.J. Yaley. Bobby Labonte also pitted, Stephen Light, Brad Keselowski, and the 9 car of Casey Kane. All of those on the lead lap pitted. The others stayed out. Well, the question is, from 8th position with 30 to go, can the 5 car get it done? Does the 1 round up on the track bar make an adjustment that'll make him the car to beat?
Stay ready.
Green flag. You're in good shape there.
Still inside.
Trying to get through the middle. There you go. Single file. You got it low inside. Still inside.
All around.
Still there. You have the middle here. 3 wide.
Real slow on the bottom. Bottom lane stopping here. You're still 3.
Still middle, bud. Still middle.
Still 3.
60s outside. You're 3 wide. 3 wide. 4 wide. 3 wide.
stuck in a gaggle of cars. He could not get by. He had 3 cars in front of him. Now he's on the inside of the track, but here comes Carl Edwards sailing by.
Tell you what, he really did a great job getting through that traffic. It was hairy to watch, that's for sure. And he needed a good restart to get it. He didn't get the restart he wanted.
We got 29 laps to go, and we got 2 of the best in the business to keep an eye on and see if they can get up there.
Now the 29 car, Jeff Burton, he's got good clean air, but Harvick's pulling right up on his tail right now, not giving him any room at all.
And Jeff Burton, as you heard him tell Rusty Wallace, I know the 5's going to be coming. We know he's going to be coming. We might as well just stay here and give it our best shot from where we are.
Well, see, Jerry, that's key. As a driver, he knows the car. He knows what type of car he has. He's comfortable with this decision. He doesn't feel like he's defeated by staying out there. He feels like he made a good decision by staying out there. Got to have that confidence, guys.
Jeff Burton's got that clean air, and he's got his teammate right behind him, so he knows he's not going to get any unnecessary pressure from behind. And if he gets too much, he'll probably let Kevin Harvick go, and he's getting some right here.
Yeah, Harvick down on the inside at the start-finish line. Burton, that would have been the last lap, would have won it by 5 inches, but Harvick will take over the lead, or try to, entering turn 1. Here comes Burton, though, hanging by half a car length on the high side, but Kevin Harvick takes the spot. Jamie.
Well, Doc, Kevin Harvick pulled up behind Jeff Burton, and he was joking with him about what was hanging outside of that left side window. This was on the radio just a moment ago.
Matt wants to know about the P-tube hanging out your window net there. Trying to pull over beside me. I'll show him how it works.
Oh, some teammates having a great time with each other, all the while driving 185 miles an hour right now, pushing for the lead. They're first and second currently. Guys will have to hold on for just about 27 laps to go to see who takes it home.
And look who shows up in the picture with the closer, Matt Kenseth. He wants to be part of this mix, too.
Yeah, how about the Richard Childress Racing guys? First, second, and fourth. Pretty good day for RCR, and we still got 26 laps to go. Hey, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and the guy that everyone calls the closer, Matt Kenseth. He's the guy you want on the mound in the bottom of the ninth because he can bring the heat. Can he bring his Ford to the front in the final 25 laps?
NASCAR Busch Series racing at Chicago, and Chicagoland known for great finishes. We're setting up for one with 20 laps to go. Here's a look at our Castrol lap leaders closing in with just 20 laps to go in this race. Kyle Busch with 58. He's working his way back up. There's a lot of pit strategy. We knew that would be key coming down. Do you think he can make it back to the top of the field?
I'll tell you what, I knew Kevin Harvick was going to get to the front of this pack at some point, but Kyle Busch is really hauling the heat, as we say. He is running some tremendous lap times, and I tell you, before Carl Edwards went out, he was really bringing the meal in the mail. So I think Kyle Busch does get back into it, but don't forget about Matt Kenseth. He just sits back, he rides, and at the end of the deal, he gets up front. So we got some great racing left ahead.
And Carl Edwards doing a pass-through now, Brad. What does this mean?
Yeah, he got into his pit box. He was actually, I think, one wheel outside of his pit box. So it's pit box violation. He has to come back through and make a pass-through.
Well, we know the history going in here. No one's ever won from the pole. Well, also the leader of the most laps has only won once at Chicagoland. A lot of strategy still to be played out.
A lot of strategy.
Let's go down to Alan.
Yeah, let me just explain what happens. When the team came in, Carl told them to change the left side tires. But when they didn't see the left side wheel being an obvious problem, the crew chief, Pierre Cattell, told him, go around and change the rights. Well, then Carl left, but the crew hadn't come completely back around the car with one of the tires and the jack. NASCAR has a rule saying you must have all the equipment to the inside half of the pit box when you leave the pit stall. See, here it is now. They're changing the left side tires first. They don't see the obvious problem. They make the call. They send the crew around to the right side of the car. Here they come around to the right side. And then watch when Carl leaves. Everything won't be back on the inside half of the pit box. Right here. Here he goes. See that tire on the outside? Penalty. That's your drive-through.
I'll tell you what, those guys go back and they'll look at that and they'll never do that one again.
And the net result is that Carl Edwards goes from 7th to 24th, now being shown 2 laps down. Back in 24th spot with just 16 laps to go.
Looked like the guy on the outside didn't even try to move. He just stood there, stood still, thinking about maybe if he runs around the front, Carl might launch or run over him, you know. So his pit crew members are out in the danger zone out there. He probably just froze a little bit.
And a moment ago, you also saw the 17 car make it by the 29. And as you've heard, our buddy here, Andy Petrie, the veteran crew chief on pit road, has watched Matt Kenseth of the year say Matt Kenseth is the guy that sits there and bides his time and waits to make his move. And he certainly picked a good spot to go by the 29 car. The question is, does he have enough time and enough laps to catch the 21 of Kevin Harvick? Should be a race to the finish when we come back. Back to Chicagoland Speedway. 10 laps to go here in the NASCAR Busch Series event. And Kevin Harvick trying to hold off the challenge. There's Harvick in the 21 car trying to hold off the challenge of the 17 car of Matt Kenseth.
Tell you what, we just thought that Matt Kenseth was running Kevin Harvick down in the last 2 laps. He's running about, a tenth and a half to 2 tenths slower, so it's not happening right now. But the 5 car at Kyle Busch, he's mad. He didn't think it was the right thing to stop, and now he's coming from the back to the front. Let's see what he's got to say.
I don't even want to know why we pitted. It's the wrong thing to do. We're killing them freaking guys. Just drive it, Kyle. Don't give up. Don't overdrive it. Just drive it.
And I'll tell you what, as a driver, he is so upset right now because he had a fast car, but he needs to be calmed down right now. What are you saying to him, Andy?
Well, there's not much you can say. He did have the winning car. He was sitting up front and had the lead and kind of got faked out on pit road. And these guys came down and got tires, thought it was the right thing to do. And he did make a lot of ground, but then now he's kind of stuck. He's just not he's not going to be able to catch these guys. Only 8 laps to go. And he's sitting in 5th spot, just frustrated. We're on board with Stephen Wallace.
Yeah, here's the Stephen Wallace, the 19-year-old. And the 5 car just went by. That's Kyle Busch who just sailed by. Been a tough day for some of the NASCAR Busch regulars, including the youngster Stephen Wallace, getting a lot of experience here, but he's going to hang on and finish, which is exactly what I guess Stephen wanted to do, is get some experience here at this track.
Well, it's not so much experience, Jerry. He came here in his ARCA car last year, won the race in a dominant fashion, but he lost his main car in practice, got up in the wall, and he's got the backup car out there right now, and they just do not have this car handling right at all, so they're struggling.
And the 90 car, Stephen Light, he has had a good run today. In spite of the fact that there are 25 NASCAR Nextel Cup regular drivers in this field, he is showing in 10th spot in the same car he won with at Kentucky just a few weeks ago.
Stephen Light's doing exactly what he's got to do. A good, smart run. He's in the top 10. Hey, top 10 sounds good. And the 88 car, Keselowski, man, you got to be happy for him. He's in the lead lap, 14th, Andy.
Yeah, he just drove into the top 15 now. He's been passing cars. He's passed a couple of cars here in these last few laps. You got to think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is real proud of this guy. This is exactly what he was looking for. Somebody to be solid and bring this car home. We got 5 laps to go.
You know, Dale Jr. is probably sitting in a pit box going, hey, look at the rest of these guys. Look at Strummey. Look at Gillen. Look at McMurray. My guys outrun him. He's outrunning Montoya, and they're in the lead lap. So for Dale Earnhardt Jr., that's got to be a real feel-good.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned 25 drivers who will run the Nextel Cup race on Sunday here. His driver is in 14th, so he's running the better than 11 of them.
Well, I'll tell you the good thing is when Keselowski gets out of that car and Dale Jr. comes up to him, gives him an old bear hug around the neck, said, good job, kid. He's going to sleep good tonight because he's probably been nervous about this race.
Yeah, he's still a little meat on the bone. He's got 4 laps to go. If he just brings it home. We got Matt Kenseth just trying so hard to run down this 21 of Kevin Harvick.
And it looks like it's stabilized. It looks like he can't catch him right now. And we'll look at our lap time. Harvick outrun him again by a little bit over a tenth of a lap. It's kind of like Kevin said, hey, I see him in the mirror, and this cat's not going to pass me. I'm stepping on the gas, and he's just running a good line. Kevin's found a good home for his car right now.
Well, there have been 6 different winners here in the 6 NASCAR Busch Series events in the history of Chicagoland Speedway. Kevin Harvick is one of those winners. He won it in 2005, and he would become the first repeat winner here at this racetrack in NASCAR Busch competition. He's already won twice here in the Nextel Cup car.
Jerry, just to tell you how good Harvick's car is, he just outran Kyle Busch by over the last lap 2 tenths of a lap, the lap before 3 tenths, and Kyle had fresh tires in that car and still can't get up to him. And Jeff Burton and Harvick about the same speed, Andy.
Now, the right call in the race was staying out under that last caution, and it really was, in hindsight now looking for the 5 car, the wrong thing to do to pit and try to come up through the pack. These guys had the clean air and they got out front, and it looks like it's going to pay off for the 21.
2 to go.
White flag for Kevin Harvick. And the Bakersfield, California driver and reigning NASCAR Busch Series champion, all he has to do is hang on for 3 more miles. 2 laps on a 1.5 mile racetrack.
There's something about this 21 car. Kevin
he can't touch you.
Something about this 21 car and Kevin Harvick, every time they get together, it seems like they're always in victory lane.
That's a great combination.
His 181st career start in NASCAR Busch Series competition. The two-time NASCAR Busch Series champion Kevin Harvick comes down, and the margin is still a second between Harvick and Kenseth. And so sailing out of turn 4, Kevin Harvick will become a winner here at the Windy City. Kevin Harvick pulls it off and becomes the first repeat winner at Chicagoland Speedway.
What about Paul Menard, guys?
Good job, everybody. We earned that one, baby.
Been watching Menard all day long. 6th place. Good run for him, too.
Yeah, Paul Menard, great run for the 15 car here. The car got better and better and better, and Paul was patient throughout the afternoon. Now gets a top 10 finish. And let's check in with the crew chief on the 21 car, Shane Wilson.
And as cars continue to take the checkered flag, the 21 is long gone and a winner again, Shane. Talk about that last pit stop and deciding whether or not to make the decision to come down pit road.
Well, we weren't coming down, and so
either way.
Yeah, because we didn't even have our tires glued up, because we had to come in when we had that vibration, so we didn't have a set of stickers, so we weren't coming in, and just worked out, man. We unloaded. We weren't that good here, and just everyone worked real hard on this team. I want to thank everybody, RCR, engine, and the body shop, and everything, and it's just a good day, good win.
They may not have been good here with the car, but Kevin Harvick always good here. 2 Nextel Cup wins, now this win today.
All right, Kevin Harvick celebrating in style here in Chicago in front of these fans. We'll talk to him in victory lane in just a moment.
Back at Chicagoland Speedway, where we have seen Kevin Harvick go to victory lane once again, standing by with Kyle Busch, who had the lead late in the race. Kyle, you led the most laps today. Talk about that decision-making process, coming down pit road, not staying out.
I don't know. We just had a great Delphi Chevrolet today. Man, that car was awesome. I got to thank Mike Bumgardner and all these guys that work on this Delphi Chevy that prepared such a well-raced car. You know, we were off yesterday. Went through a set of tires that just were off. We didn't like them at all, and just threw yesterday out. And we guessed at it in qualifying and guessed at it for here today, and they did an awesome job for me. So got to thank all those guys and give kudos to them.
You disagreed on the radio, though, with the call to come down pit road at this point. Obviously, you couldn't change it, but what are you and Alan going to work on in the future on those decisions?
I guess we only got 4 more months to work on.
All right, Kyle Busch, 5th today. Mike in victory lane.
And Kevin Harvick has just unbuckled. He's climbing from his car, and here comes the rain made of Busch beer as they celebrate here in victory lane. Kevin Harvick's 2nd victory in his last 3 weeks. His worst finish during that stretch was 2nd, but you congratulated your team on the radio as you took your victory lap, congratulating them, telling them they did such a great job. What was this weekend like for you and this team?
It's been a struggle. I mean, you know, we brought a newly rebuilt car here, and just we struggled from the beginning, and Shane and all these guys. This is that same championship team that we had last year, and just kept working on it all weekend. And when it came time to be there at the end of the race, we were where we needed to be and able to capitalize. So first thing I want to do is dedicate this to Carl Edwards for that butt kicking that he was supposed to give us this weekend. A little smack talking always backfires on you. So he can look at the back of this AutoZone Chevrolet one more time.
Well, you do know he said yesterday you were the car to beat, and obviously that was the case, but there were some obstacles. A loose wheel midway through that race. How much of a threat did you think that was?
You know, the wheel, it never did that again, so it had to be either that set of tires or the loose wheel, or, and, you know, they said all the wheels were tight and all the lug nuts are on, so maybe we just had a wheel out of balance. But got to thank everyone at AutoZone, Snap-on, who else we got on this thing? Pennzoil, Shell, Akuma, Champion, everybody that helps us out with this Busch program. Just a lot of fun to drive.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Kevin Harvick gives Richard Childress Racing their 7th victory in the Busch Series this season.
And Mike, his teammates are with me now, 3rd and 4th. What a day for Richard Childress Racing. I'm going to talk to you first, Jeff. You kept it very exciting for all of us, especially because you were our in-race reporter. Take us through, though, that fake out there for Kyle Busch.
Well, I mean, we were going to stay, and I figured, what the heck, maybe I could drag a few with me. And I don't know if they came because of that or not, but we, you know, just tried to pull them down there to get as many out of the way as we could. I thought we were good enough to win. We just got the wrong got the wrong kind of race. We needed a real long run. We just weren't very good on short runs, and you know, as it worked out, we just didn't get what we needed. But we need to be able to adjust and do a little better than that. But I'm proud of my guys. J.L. Holiday and Chevrolet drove well today, and we just you know, got beat today. They did a better job than we did.
Well, and your crew improvised great. We saw what they built for you to try to cool you down. How did you stay so focused and hold your composure together with all that going on?
Well, all the years of experience that I had really helped me.
Oh, he's talking, razzing his teammate here, Clint Boyer. What do you have to say about that, Clint?
He's got plenty of years of experience, we'll say that. But he whooped our butt, so no, you know, just obviously very fortunate to have teammates like that you can have fun with. But Dan and all the guys in the Camp World Chevrolet did a good job, and you know, I knew we weren't probably a car to win, but fourth place finish nonetheless is pretty solid for us. We've been having a lot of fun driving this car this year, and so far so good.
Well, Jeff walked by and asked you if you're going to cook dinner for him. Do you guys have some kind of side bet here?
Well, I guess I better go start the grill, huh?
You better get busy. Let's go back to Mike in Victory Circle.
And Jamie, plenty of reason for Richard Childress to smile. Not only is he in victory lane with Kevin Harvick, but 3 of your cars in the top 4. Not too many days like this, are there?
No, you enjoy them when you get them. Kevin did a great job. Jeff, Clint, all the guys, just happy for everybody, happy for all that's on. You know, these guys work so hard. Will Lynn and his group down there in the Busch shop, and sometimes they don't get the credit they deserve, but them guys work hard, and proud of them all.
Of course, this is just a warm-up to the main event on Sunday afternoon, and considering this is not a Car of Tomorrow event, there's a little bit of crossover. How much of this is an indication of what we might be able to expect in the Nextel Cup race on Sunday?
Well, I think you're going to see the same, you know, high and low groove working both. It's going to be good. So I think we'll be real good. All 3 of our cars are good.
And guys, if this is a true indication of what to expect on Sunday, watch out for the RCR cars, guys.
All right, thank you, Dave. Celebration ongoing down at Richard Childress' cars finished 1st, 3rd, and 4th. His 7th win this year. This car was dialed in. The only sliding it did all day long was this celebration after the checkered flag. Back with more from Chicagoland Speedway in just a moment. Back at Chicagoland Speedway, Kevin Harvick picking up his 3rd win of the year, his 2nd win in the last 3 weeks, and despite a limited schedule, he moves a little bit closer to Carl Edwards. Kevin Harvick 716 points behind. He was 798 behind entering this race here, and said he wanted to be able to get closer to Carl Edwards, who's standing by with Alan.
And actually, he's stepping forward to look in our monitor to check out those championship standings. Carl, you had a good car for a while, then you had the problem. Your crew chief, after the checkered flag, apologized to you for the loose wheel, and you said what to him back?
Well, I just want to make sure those guys know that, that I'm behind them 100%. You know, Chris Ellis, our front tire changer, something happened. He left one of the those Goodyear Eagles loose, but I mean, this is a team sport. I missed pit road the first time coming down. Those guys wouldn't trade me for anything, so I wouldn't trade them either. This is a good day. I mean, we're all thinking about the losses that everyone suffered this week, and it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow, and just happy for Kevin and Matt that they finished so well.
You led for a little while, had some hot dog wrapper issues, and then just didn't seem like could keep the handle under you that you needed to compete for the lead after that, after the missed pit road thing.
Right, it took off great. I just have to thank everybody at Sharp, you know, Sharp Aquos Televisions for sponsoring us, and there for a while it took off great, and I think there's a few too many Oscar Mayer wieners being partaken in and up there, but still had a good time, and once again, just thank everybody from Sharp and Aquos. I've got one of those 65 inchers at home, and I'm sure my family's down there watching it, so I think tomorrow's going to be awesome, man. I'm ready.
Okay, we went to a hot dog, to a TV, and he didn't really talk about his race car, but we get the point. It was one of those days.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, I got to take care of the sponsors. That's key. You know that, Alan.
All right, Carl. We'll see you next week in St. Louis. A home state race for Carl next week, and we go to Dave.
Matt Kenseth with a strong 2nd place run today. Matt, talk about trying to run down Harvick at the end.
Yeah, I mean, running a down part as soon as I got clear to the 29, you know, wasn't a problem. I caught him real fast. I just got too tight when I got there. So my car was tighter on that last side, not what we've been. And the guys did a great job. They made great adjustments. I was way too loose before that, and there we just got it just a little too snug to be able to run with Kevin. So he did a great job. He headed out front, and it was a big advantage out there on the nose today. It was hard to pass.
Talk about the end of this race and the final sequence of pit stops. It looked like kind of a no-win situation for the 5 car there coming down pit road. Were you guys always planning on staying out?
Yeah, I mean, I was keeping a close eye on the leader, so I was following him partway down there, but I was planning on staying out. So we couldn't run for the first 15 laps of a run. We'd be so loose, and we only had 11 laps on our tires, so we were going to stay out no matter what went on there.
All right, Matt Kenseth in one of their best race cars comes home 2nd today. Jamie?
Well, Dave, Denny Hamlin, your pole sitter. Well, he maintained the lead for a while there, and then issues with the battery going dead. Denny, how did you rebound after they had to bring you in, change that battery out? You fought all the way back to 7th.
Yeah, the alternator died. The battery was good, and it's just if you ain't got anything charging, it don't take long before a battery to end up dead. So, our car was really good for most of the day, and it looks like we had a right front spring collapse on us, and just got super tight at the end. I was hoping something was broke because our car definitely went in a handbasket there at the end. So, but still a great day for us. Top 10 finish, and we're going to build on that for the future.
Now, there's not many companion races where you guys are running the old style car on the other side. Did you learn anything in this race you could take to tomorrow's?
Yeah, it's just a few line things. I was running a little bit different line, and when I had plenty of racetrack to work with, I'd do some different things I wouldn't normally do to try to find some grip. So I think I learned a few things, and we'll see if it all pans out tomorrow.
All right, Denny Hamlin finishes 7th. Let's go to Dave.
And 7 spots behind him, but I'm sure very happy with what took place today. Brad Keselowski, talk about your day, sir.
You know, we struggled there at the start, and Wes Ward and Tony Erie Sr. just kept working on it and made some big progress and got us where we needed to be at the end of the race. Kind of wish the race was about 50 laps longer, and as much as we were progressing, we ran down the cars in front of us there with 1 to go and just didn't get a chance to pass them. So all in all, a great day. I think just what everybody needed, and we're all pretty happy.
So grade yourself, Brad. It sounds like you relied on the team to do a lot for you to bring the car along. How'd you do today?
I felt like I adapted to them and worked with them. We continue to build chemistry every lap, every time we talk, and it started to get better at the end, and I started to get more comfortable with what they had for a setup, and all in all, I'm fairly happy. I'd give me a B-.
And do you expect a good review from your boss?
I think so. I haven't talked to him yet, but I'm going to go see him.
All right, I have the feeling he might have the cell phone number, and I'm sure they'll be in touch. Jerry?
All right, thank you very much. What an effort by Brad Keselowski under pretty stressful circumstances, getting a chance to drive Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car for the first time of 3 races. And what kind of grade would you guys give him?
I give him a B. He said B-, and I actually would grade him a little more than that because I think he did a great job, because the car wasn't that good in practice, and it wasn't good for the race and qualifying, but they worked on it, got the car a lot better, and he kept it clean all day, brought it up there, got a top 15 finish, and I think he gets a B for sure.
Jerry, I got to tell you, I'm giving this guy an A. I'm not going to give him an A+, but he probably exceeded his expectations. He really ran good today, brought that baby home in the lead lap, and I know that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is probably really happy with his car, his team, and Brad right now.
And what impressed me about Keselowski was when the track was slick in the late laps, he was running down those NASCAR Nextel Cup regulars. That's got to impress Dale Earnhardt Jr., knowing that if the race was 50 laps more, this kid maybe would have had a top 10 finish. Well, victory lane celebrations are ongoing, and Kevin Harvick getting some photographs. Also spraying car owner Richard Childress with some celebratory champagne. We'll come back with final thoughts from Chicagoland Speedway in just a moment.
The NASCAR Busch Series at Chicago, presented by the Old Spice Collectors Series. Aaron's, proud sponsor of the Aaron's Lucky Fan. Everyone's a lucky dog at Aaron's. Holiday Inn Racing, always stay under green. And Avodart.
Welcome back to Chicagoland. Kevin Harvick collects his 3rd win of the season, but the guys were talking about Brad Keselowski and the rookie having such a great race for JR Motorsports. But another rookie that should be noted, Stephen Light in the 90 car, he was also finished 9th. Absolutely. And those 2 guys, the only 2 non-Cup drivers who finished on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's my 2 attaboys for today. Brad Keselowski did a great job. He took great care of that race car. Really happy for that young man. He did a great job. Stephen Light, man, he was up there hunting with the big-time guys, the Cup guys who are over in this deal today. He ran with them all day long, kept that race car clean, and gave himself a great finish. He did a super job. We're going to go down to Mike Massaro and talk to Stephen Light.
Yeah, Brad, if there was a best-in-class award, this guy would win it because he is the highest-finishing Busch-only driver today, finishing 10th. And while you're driving your favorite race car, the car you won with in Kentucky, how would you describe the day?
I think we did a great job all day. The entire C-Finish team, I'm so proud of these guys. We fought so many problems today. We had the engine was overheating when I got a piece of debris caught in the nose, and and water got up to about 280 on the temperature gauge, and I was a little worried because I've never had to try to get debris off the nose of the car during a green flag situation. So I got behind my teammate David Gilliland, and he let me draft up to him and play with his bumper and with my nose to try to get it off there. Luckily we got it off there, but we lost a lot of track time by doing that. Went a lap down early and got the lucky dog and got back on the lead lap, and these guys worked on the car all day long. We fought a tight condition all day long, and by the end of the race they had that thing really good. So we're really proud of these guys. Top 10 with all these Cup guys here. It was a great day for us.
Now, getting that debris off the car, that's not a rookie move. You're proving that you have increased your experience here in the Busch Series. In a couple of weeks, you'll lose that yellow stripe on your rear bumper. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I tell you what, I'm glad we got it off the nose, but it took me longer than it should have. It took me about 5, 6, maybe 10 laps just because I didn't know what I was doing. And once I figured it out, it was pretty easy. So next time I'll know what to do. But I don't know. There's mixed emotions about the rookie thing. Now that I'm not going to be a rookie anymore, it's kind of cool. I go to the track and say I'm a normal guy. I'm not a rookie anymore. I'm a veteran. But at the same time, it's good to get all that rookie practice when you get to the track and try to catch up with these Cup guys.
Absolutely no substitute for that experience on the track, guys. After ORP, Stephen Light loses that yellow stripe on the rear bumper. Alan?
With J.J. Yaley, who finished 11th, and J.J., okay, wasn't in the top 10, but that's one of the better runs you've had here in a little while. Tell me about your day.
It was a good day. We had great pit stops all day long. We just gave up too much the first 15 laps. We didn't quite have a car that would turn as good as the rest of the guys. We had to keep the car real free. And man, after that, it was a lot of fun to drive, run on the bottom, the top, and race pretty good with a lot of different guys. So it's been a big improvement from what we've been having. It's always fun to go be competitive. So we look forward to maybe some things we learned today. We can take St. Louis and see if we can't crack top 5, maybe try to win a race.
The engine change for this week, the engine make a big difference for you?
I think it did, and nothing against the engines we've been running. They put out a really big horsepower number. I just don't think personally they have enough torque for what we need. And these Busch cars, the longer you run, the cars just, they really drag down. You got to be able to get off the corners. And, it might not have showed as much today at Chicago because this is a high horsepower racetrack. But I think a racetrack where you go and you really get down low RPMs, you're going to see the biggest change. So, this is just something that this team needed to evaluate their program and see what they want to do from there.
And the Cup race tomorrow for JJ still to come. He'll wrap up a triple header weekend. He ran an open wheel Silver Crown car here last night. Wow.
And really good to see J.J. Yady smiling, given that is his best finish, by the way, of the year, 11th overall. And Kevin Harvick, we see this all the time. We saw it 9 times in 2006 when he was the NASCAR Busch Series champion. We've now seen it 3 times here in 2007. This guy's just good at anything he drives.
He really is, Jerry. The 21 car, they had a lot of other drivers in that car this year. They struggled a little bit, but they got Kevin back in the seat of that thing, put that 21 back on track again, and it's got to feel good for him because he feels like he's got his rhythm back, and these are things that he can use to help his own Busch Grand National team.
Indeed he can. Kevin Harvick celebrating after winning. He becomes the first repeat winner here in NASCAR Busch Series competition in 7 races since they began running here back in 2001. Susie?
Brad, you have a top moment from today?
Well, I think, we talked about the track and cars getting spread out, but for me, it's Brad Keselowski. I mean, just his entire day. I'm so happy for that young man. He did a great job. He was under a ton of pressure. He was sitting here beside us. He was basically shaking when we were talking about his opportunity. And he went out and took advantage of a great opportunity and made the most of it. So that's my moment for today is Brad Keselowski's 14th place finish.
And the other side is the powerhouse for Richard Childress Racing, 3 out of the top 4.
Well, I'm going to tell you now that every time Kevin Harvick gets in one of these race cars, he is a bad man. And we need to start talking about Kevin Harvick more in the Nextel Cup Series as well. This cat can flat drive a race car, but Richard Childress shows they have a lot of power under the hood and really dominating performance by RCR today.
Yeah, Kevin Harvick, the reigning Busch Series champ. You just never know. It's not over till it's over in this series.
Till it's over.
Now, stay tuned, except on the West Coast for ABC's World News or your local news over most of these ABC stations. Congratulations again to the NASCAR Busch Series at Chicago race winner, Kevin Harvick, the first repeat winner at Chicagoland. Join our entire ESPN race team next week when we head to St. Louis for more racing action. The NASCAR Busch Series at Gateway, presented by Camping World. That's next Saturday at 8 Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN2 HD. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. That's going to do it from Chicagoland in Joliet, Illinois. See you next time.